All right. Well,
All right.
it's that time. It's going down.
It's podcasting time. Sorry, I feel like that was maybe too much energy.
John, your recommendation this month is to get on the big screen at Times Square.
Combo breaker.
Combo breaker!
So yeah, as absolute proof of the concept of failing upwards, myself and Woolie found ourselves on a billboard at Times Square.
What? Why?
Yeah. So Woolie, I feel like our reaction to this was quite different. You're hyped. You're excited. This is great, and there's no inhibition about that.
It's a big crazy deal that makes no sense given the trajectory, and it's the other thing that can be shown to the family where they go, oh, okay, really,
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I guess.
I have told no one, and
just keep it fucking. Just don't mention a thing to anybody. No one can know.
I just. There's no bigger notions than this. There's nothing. There's nothing, Woolie. I didn't recommend.
Nope.
I told one person.
Yep.
And I sent you the results. I was like, and I believe my exact wording was, "Do you see what I exist in?"
Oh my god. It like within the same paragraph of congratulation.
We bring this up. I feel myself wanting to apologize.
Oh man.
It's so bad, you know?
And here's the fun bit too, is that like also the picture that went up is like the one where we're basically like album posing for Run the Wolves album posing. So it's that extra level of like taking yourself way seriously, all Aura Farm. It's not even kind of being self-deprecating.
No, not one little bit. And like that's what happens, because like my favorite poses to do when someone asks like take a photo, I love to do like the super serious dead eye kind of, because
Aura
that's funny
Farm.
to me. It's like that's silly.
Yeah.
But then when you kind of remove it from the context of like an Instagram post and you put it on the side of a fucking building in Times Square in New York, that looks really different.
It just looks really serious, and that's what it was. I mean, look.
But like none of that is to actually undersell how fucking cool this was. This was not a dream come true, because I would never see that happening.
I wouldn't deign.
No, not I.
to hope for this type of thing.
No.
And it being a possibility is really cool. It's nice that that's there. Shout outs to Patreon for being willing to do that. And I
would also say shout outs to our patrons for making Patreon take note of us.
Yes.
Shout out to our Patreon. So someone at Patreon had to kind of go like, what the fuck is this? Versus what? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that is much thanks to the Intermission Lounge members, and getting on this big thing where it was there for a couple days, but it was just like, okay, there are a couple friends in New York that like did walk by and get a photo and pop that up there, and yeah, I don't know. It wasn't an achievement that I think you or I were hoping for in any way, shape, or form, but it's kind of sick to have that on the checklist of things. And I guess, you know what? Maybe this show ain't too bad.
Look, I will the thing I will always be very, very transparent about with Versus Wolves, this to me was always an excuse for us to just have a reason to hang out once a month.
Basically.
Like, that was it. Like, we would always do, like, you know, calls, but, like, life happens, like, things back and forth. It's hard to keep consistent. This was just a way to just hang out, and I am still shocked at how into it people are and the things it has brought us. So, you know, whether like you're a patron or not, if you just listen to this, thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Yeah.
And yeah, I
there
mean,
there was one photo that went up of our billboard, and it is maybe if I could send a single image back in time to make my brain explode, it's of Times Square, and in the foreground is a Mickey Mouse,
yes.
I don't know what to call it, cosplayer.
Yeah.
But like, you know, New York Times Square professional cosplayer.
The mascot. The mascot. Mm-hmm.
There's a woman with tattoos being drawn by like an artist. And then there's a guy wearing America shorts, American flag shorts to the left. And in the background, floating above it all, is me and Woolie's billboard. And I would give anything, Woolie, to be able to send that to myself 11 years ago.
Oh, God.
And I would just to see myself going, why am I on a billboard with Woolie?
Next to one that says Ariana Grande on it, mind you, you know, it's wild. For me, the extra hilarious bit was like sending that out and like, you know, letting the family know, like, hey guys, big moment, something really cool just happened, check it out. And everyone's like really hyped and like, wow, that's awesome. Like, huh. And then being like, so what is this V5 Wolf? What is that exactly? Is this a new thing? What's going on? You know? And I'm like, don't worry about that. It's fine. Like, oh no. And then the idea that they then will look that up and the next thing they will see is Amazing Digital Circus versus the Bible.
Oh no.
Like, no, not this episode. Any episode but this one. God damn it. But whatever. We're here now.
So I recently acquired the cursed knowledge that my mom has gotten in the habit of switching on my streams on a Friday afternoon. And it's like, Mom, those streams are not for you.
Oh, man. Yeah. I have already gotten indication. I have already gotten indication that at least someone has definitely seen it, because I've gotten a message, you know, kind of more or less indirectly, just being like, hey, if you ever wanted to, you know, just study some Bible, let me know, you know, just if you want to just brush up on some of those you know,
well,
maybe those
get
things you got wrong, perhaps. Anyway, now more than ever, as proven by Times Square, I'm Woolie Versus.
I'm Eyepatch Wolf.
And we
are
Versus Wolf.
Man.
The notions will never be lived down.
No.
There's no defeating it. It's peak.
No.
It's unstoppable. Just embrace it at this point.
Yeah, it's just, and you know what? You know, I have these two older cousins, right? And they're both like just really fucking cool dudes. Always have been, always will be. Kind of functional humans in a way that I'll never be. You know, that kind of person?
Mm-hmm.
They both got really hyped about the billboard, and they both like reposted it and showed it to all their friends, and that like,
oh
got me a little bit. I was
yeah. You got people rooting. Okay. You got people rooting for you.
Yeah.
How has your recovery been going? How has your time in the darkness been going? Have you been following up? Have you read more Bible? Because, you know, there's always a part 2 waiting for you if you want some.
You know what?
You got a New Testament sitting right there.
Speaking of the Bible, part 2, Woolie. I've been browsing the religious texts. So we started with the Holy Bible, which, I was a big fan of.
Yes.
So then I thought, why not? Why stop here?
Keep it going.
And that's when we entered the greatest story ever told, a book by Bear Grylls, who was there for it all. And
the importance of drinking one's piss. Scripture.
Yeah. There is more evidence that this story is true than there is that Julius Caesar ever even lived. And that's from Dr. Billy Graham.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Billy Graham. That,
But I didn't stop there. I didn't stop there.
Big preacher, man. Okay.
This was actually something I got my hands on in the run-up to the last episode, in case things went kind of sideways. And it's learn the Bible in 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in case. You had some studying on the side. You had notes ready to go.
Well, for a friend of the channel, Sean, kind of hooked me up here. Sean, through a series of mishaps, has acquired many a Bible. But possibly the best one, the Action Bible. Check out the fucking art in this. Look at this thing.
Oh, let's go.
There's this really rad, Leviathan picture somewhere in here.
Yeah. That would be in the Book of Job. Towards the end.
Yes, it is towards the end.
That's where God starts talking shit about how he made the behemoth and the Leviathan.
How sick is that?
Wow. Okay, so the Action Bible is one way to go with that. I'm not gonna lie. There was a non-zero chance I was considering the manga Bible. Because the manga Bible is another one. I'm sure you've seen pages of it scanned.
Well, look, Woolie, we're planning on doing this show for a while. The Action Bible is still very much in play.
Yeah. And I think the manga Bible mainly focuses on, Bible Shippuden, aka the Jesus Christ chapters. So it focuses primarily on that as opposed to, Boruto's dad. So I think it's a little easier on the reading, but I don't know how far it goes. I don't know that it covers everything, Anyways,
Woolie, speaking of, little tangent here. Have you seen what's going on with Boruto?
The last thing I saw was, I think, a new Uchiha girl was getting introduced into the games that is an ancestor from pre Senju Madara era or something like that.
So I cannot tell you what is happening.
Also, there's aliens and guns. So, there's that.
Yeah. So fuck all that. None of that actually matters. Boruto has acquired drip.
Oh boy.
I think there's this new part to Boruto called Boruto Blue Vortex.
Oh boy.
And we are hitting some JoJo-esque tankobon covers.
Okay.
And
okay.
I am kind of shocked. I'm like, this is interesting. This is fashion, Woolie.
Well, I've heard that Boruto has been time traveling to the past, and so why not the future to get some fucking hype beast strip going? Oh my god.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
That's a Kishimoto right there. That is 1,000,000% Kishimoto. Yeah, okay.
It's Kishimoto, but it's I think he's kind of found it again.
No, there's Araki happening inside of that. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right?
Interesting.
It's and I'm kind of looking at a lot of these covers and I'm like, do I need to read Boruto?
Oh my, John.
Yes,
John.
Woolie. Yes, Woolie.
There are questions that should not be asked. There are questions.
What's
that are
wrong,
meant
Woolie?
to be...
Are you worried that this is somehow going to boomerang and affect you?
I just think
that would only happen if Boruto's either really good or really bad.
Why would you grab the steering wheel and careen off the cliff like this? We are both in the car.
Woolie, our wheels haven't touched ground in years.
Listen, something that something that is clearly the case and has been repeated more recently than ever is when Night Guy did Night Guy to Madara at the end of that first series, that should have been the end of the series. And if he actually beat the bad guy doing the eighth gate shit, I would have forgiven all sins and said this is one of the greatest pieces of literature mankind has ever been blessed with. If they ended it at that moment, it would have solved and saved everything. But the cowards continued, and here we are. Also, isn't Boruto an adult now with his own kid?
Yes, I believe he is. He has also acquired Insane Drip. It's doing stuff, Woolie.
Is that it all it takes? Is just like a clothing change and just the fashion upping its game, and then
Woolie, we've been doing this podcast for like 3 years. Yes, that's all it's changed. You know that's all it takes.
Then I've got a King of Fighter game or two for you. Where they
Woolie,
put on.
Do you know how bad I am at King of Fighters? Do you know how I don't even play that much King of Fighters? I own about 18 King of Fighters games.
They dress really well. They look super sick.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I have the Turn of the Millennium one. That's just kind of awful, but it's great.
I kind of wanted to give Bleach more of a chance just because of those covers and chapters where they were dressed in the formal clothing. That shit looks super sick every time. There's a point. There's a point to be made there. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Woolie, speaking of fighting game related things, you kind of sent me on a little side quest last week. I checked out some Tōkon Marvel Fighting Souls.
Mm-hmm.
And this was interesting. So Tōkon is a 4-on-4 fighter, which sounded absolutely insane to me. Generally, my brain has... I just gravitate towards one-on-one fighters. That's what I like. I like getting in there with a character, like getting real deep with those mechanics, kind of figuring them out.
You and many others are overwhelmed by tag fighters as a concept. So you're in good company. Don't worry. That's a thing.
When I heard this was 4-on-4, it was nearly enough for me to be like, no, I'm out. But then, like, I saw the look of it, I saw the music, and like, I was like, okay, I think I do want to check this out, because like this game is very nice to look at. When people say it's ArcSyst's best looking game, I do disagree with that. No. I think the animation and art of Guilty Gear kind of stomps on all over this, but there's a lot of personal preference in there, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah, there's more. Like I think that Dragon Ball looks phenomenal because of how much it looks like the source material on that. And I have a big preference for the ArcSys style of cell shading characters is beautiful and animation is glorious. I love the kinds that look like they're 2D, mm-hmm. And I think that Exerd did that stronger. Even I went back and watched that reveal of like seeing the characters of Sol and Kai, not knowing that they're sprites, not knowing they're not sprites, and then they slash and the camera rotates, and how hyped that moment was because it really it doesn't look 3D at all,
Yeah. And I would also say like there is a lot of room to look worse than Zerd or Strive and still be incredibly gorgeous, right?
Yes,
like being lower than an 11 on 10 still means you can be a 9 or a 10.
I love that the standard of how these games looks now is even between like Grand Blue and DNF Duel and like just like mm-hmm. excellent cell shaded 3D is now like the bare minimum. I'm really Beautiful. Happy with that.
Yeah, and I love even that like Grand Blue has its own kind of more muted visual style as well. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But
and
anyway, so I kind of
sorry, no, I was gonna say like some characters I find lend themselves really well to the style too. I think Magic looks really good.
She does. For sure.
You know, and looks better than some of the other characters do. I think there's like standout examples. Yeah.
I really like how Carnage looks as well, and his animation is wild. But so I got in there and I started poking at it, and you know what? There is some stuff that like I really like about it, and one of them is that you actually start off with 2 characters, not 4. And you gain new characters either by losing rounds or by triggering wall breaks. And I thought that was really clever because in a lot of games, like, wall breaks are a really cool thing you can do in fighting games, but it's nearly difficult to make them mechanically mean what they should. You know, because if you send someone through a wall, they should be kind of dead. And like particularly like Dead or Alive, when you wall break someone and like there's a huge new animation, it is a lot of damage, but it's sometimes not a dramatic increase on the damage you were already going to do. And so then like, you know, the next extreme is like ring outs, and it's like, okay, the round is over, you win, and it's like, I wish there was some kind of middle ground between those two things. And giving you an additional character, like the idea that you're wall breaking your opponent into this new area where your new party member is waiting. I think that's really fucking cool.
And what's really interesting is in most tag game cases, you start having your full team and the complexity is highest at first. And then as you lose team members down to the single one left, it gets more simple. But in this case, you start simple and your complexity goes up and inverses the... you know, the complexity like chain. Like you start off with fewer characters and end the round with more. So that's it's an interesting play on what you're used to, you know?
Yeah, totally. And like I kind of really appreciated that about it. And another thing I was really surprised about was this is like a tag fighter. It is also kind of a one-on-one fighter if you want it to be, because you never really need to tag.
Doesn't force you to do it. Everyone shares the same life bar. You can stay on the one character you know, never use assists or never tag, and still play.
Yeah. And like, on one hand, I like that because it meant like I could just focus on getting good with Carnage. And I really enjoy Carnage in this game. I think he's a really weird zoning character, but also has some aggressive rushdown stuff as well. And he's quite like an unusual playstyle. And he has that like very kind of like, I don't know how you put it, like kind of sort of simplistic, like more simple than like a Street Fighter 6 character or something like that. Yes. Where he's, you know, carving out massive parts of the screen for just him. It's a lot about like spatial control and
a lot of those characters are designed much simpler because they're part of a group. You know, Dragon Ball did the same thing where a Street Fighter character will have a full list of moves to be their kit. Each of these characters in these games, in Tōkon or Dragon Ball, will have a third of that because they're like fulfilling a shorter role, and it's also meant to be kind of interchangeable. That being said, it's really nice that Carnage finally got a shot to be on a roster,
and he's so cool. Because like he doesn't feel like Venom, you know? Either. Yeah, and Venom in Marvel 2 is like all timer fucking Sprite.
Venom's rad. Venom is rad, but it's always
it's just coolest.
Carnage has just been getting ignored for so long, so it's nice that Carnage gets a shot.
Yeah, it's nice to see Carnage. It's nice to see Magic. It's nice to see Hobgoblin.
Like, Green Goblin.
Green Goblin. Yeah. That's really, really fun. And so like I was playing and like I think I found it. I got to a point where I was definitely enjoying it, and I was like seeing the sense in some of the design, and like particularly like, you know, the combos are so like, it is such an auto combo heavy game. And I know at a high level these combos are not optimum and that you can do more damage yourself, but when you're like just starting out with the game and probably not going to spend a huge amount of time with it, yes, I am mashing square or I am mashing circle or...
And those auto combos are 90% of the damage anyway. Like, they're very high damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like, this gets to a part where in a way, I appreciate what it's doing, and it is making it more accessible to me, especially someone who doesn't play like a lot of like tag fighters. But there's a part of it where like spiritually I kind of disagree with what it's doing, and this is so dumb, right? But it's like, I am garbage at Marvel 2. You know, I am not good at Marvel 2. I would say to the point I barely know how to play that game. And I've spent a lot of time with it, but like I'm not competitive. I'm not going to be anyone who has watched a YouTube video on how a particular team up should work or anything like that. There is a part of me that loves Marvel 2 because Marvel 2 is this fucking Darwinistic, brutally cruel fighting game. Marvel 2 is not fair. Marvel 2, they threw the pieces into that game. It never got patched. It never got updated. It is not there to make you feel good. Oh, I'm sorry, these two characters have like an insane fucking infinite that you can't stop. Fuck you. That's life, you know? And in a way, something about Tōkon sort of feels like the opposite of that to me, where it's kind of like the game is so streamlined and the game is there to make you feel good. You know, if I just match square, I will watch my entire party come out and bounce my opponent around. And yeah, it feels good. It looks good.
Yeah.
But there is a little part of me kind of whispering, you didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know people kind of go back and forth. And I'm not even saying I would want it to change. I don't really. But there's a conflict in me over this game.
I see.
You know, where it feels like bowling with the rails up sometimes.
Okay.
And I am not speaking at this from like any kind of like high level position. I have no doubt like this game has a meta, this game has high level play. I know the people, like some of the recent tournaments, I feel like I've kind of proved that. But to me, there is a kind of neutering of the parts of tag fighters I admire.
Yeah. I agree with that assessment. I've talked about this game a lot, so I'm going to try to summarize and not like get super long-winded on it here, because I feel like at some point there's only so much repetition, if anyone has heard me talk about it elsewhere, that they want to hear.
Sure.
But what I will say is that for me, this is the reason why this is a weird one is because this is the first time a new fighting game has come out that's like, you know, a big main spotlight one, and I'm not feeling the zeitgeist of it, and it's so odd because I'm like, I love the genre, and I'm always like, I'm going to give every fighting game a chance on principle. You know, I want to know what's going on with it. I'm going to learn enough about it to be able to pick it up and play it.
You guys should hear Woolie talk about Crushing Force.
I mean, listen, there are ways to solve the fighting game product design problem, and I have found one of them, and it is the game Crushing Force, quite simply. However, I do feel that, like, in most cases, you'll see I'll go along and give something, you know, I always want to give it its fair shake. But, like, yeah, I am running into some really strong game feel problems with this one. And a lot of those are things that what I guess I feel disappointed by is not that the streamlining and restrictions and simplification exist, but that they're not things you can choose to engage with or not, you know? I think that we've seen some great examples of games coming out that have made it accessible and streamlined while also keeping it like more complex and open-ended and to, you know, your own style and expression. Like Street Fighter 6 has done a great job of that.
Completely. Like,
know?
I have no issue at all with modern mode being in Street Fighter 6.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think great. I'm never going to touch it, but awesome. Cool. Great. I don't care about losing to people who play modern. I don't care. I don't think about it. I picked up modern for some characters and tried messing around with it to learn how to use them. You know, when Viper came out, I tried and messed around with modern Viper, you know, like
I really like the addition of that mode, and I think it's a great thing that is there for people to choose to engage with if they'd like to, you know? I similarly see that 2XKO has pulse combos, which are the auto combos that work for that game, and you can kind of once you can get used to them in a simple way, and then when you get more used to regular combos, you can kind of interchange them a little bit and mix and match. And I love that it gives you the freedom to kind of choose how to engage with that. And I just think that with Tōkon, they've kind of decided to take that freedom away from you.
And like when I figured out that I couldn't turn off the auto combos, I was like, that was a moment for me where I was like, oh.
And that philosophy to not get too long here, that philosophy extends into a lot of different things. So there's things like when you get up off the ground, you're invincible for just a little too long because they kind of want you to not feel like you're going to get pressured again too quickly. They don't want people to feel too overwhelmed. So you have that kind of moment. Things like that, I feel like I'm like, I don't like the way that feels. And there are other things where when you're kind of are doing combos and calling in your assists and stuff like that, there's a lot of moments where they don't want you to be able to like pressure your opponent and kind of set up things that you can otherwise you would be able to in other kind of tag fighters.
It's not Darwinistic.
They want it to be a lot more like, no, your turn is done now. This is over.
The hand of God is coming down from the heavens and guiding evolution.
And so I'm somebody who believes I'm like everything. Just because other games played this way in the past doesn't mean that brand new ones should have to. Things can try to be their own thing.
Totally.
And I encourage a lot of people to try out different styles, especially for the genre, because I want a table that anyone can come and eat at. Find a buffet, find a plate that you want, and mix and match. And as long as you sit down at the table and eat with us, you're welcome. I want you to be here enjoying these fighting games. But I just know that for me personally, the things that I cherish, enjoy, and find in the long term make me excited about the genre are things that they kind of deliberately chose to take away from this game. So as a result, I haven't been enjoying all of my time with it. I've been having some moments of really high, like having a lot of fun, and I'm having moments of frustration, kind of back and forth. Going to a live in-person tournament and playing it with some friends, I got to enjoy it quite a bit. I had a fun time going out to a local, but I'm just bouncing between frustration and hey, that's pretty hype, back and forth with it, and that's a tension that I guess I wish I didn't feel, because I'm like, I haven't had this experience with anything new recently. It's very strange,
I imagine it's hard for you as well, because this has to be one of those things where like the internet turns around and looks at you and is like, well, Woolie, it's the thing you like, right?
Yeah, it's pretty tricky. And the longer and more conversations I've had about it, the more I've found some people would get upset at like sort of how I'm not enjoying it to the same degree that they might be, and in some cases would be like, oh well, you should, like, don't you see that like the things you don't like are just anyway, it would get into this really this conversation in the weeds that would be in some cases just bad faith and not worth engaging with. But what I will say is that what is happening now, though, that's erupting over this conversation entirely, is the fact that the online play has been really bad for people. The game has been restricted in over 100 countries because of PSN and Sony's policies on it, and they added anti-cheat protection and things that are affecting the performance of the game, so people with good computers can't get it running smoothly. And a lot of this stuff is really like detracting, never mind the gameplay, the actual product that they released. Some people are having a hard time with that on PC, whereas the PlayStation 5 version is fine. And like that sucks, because people are like, should I refund this game if I can't even get a decent match and it takes so long to get one that's bad,
Yeah.
So that's a whole other conversation happening that I'm like, ugh, I hate that we're still having this, because Street Fighter 6 launched so good, and it was just like a clean, simple, good time. And I just wish that we didn't have to go back to like having bad launches, Yeah, it's a whole thing. And I will say that this is also complicated by the fact that my heart is being pulled very strongly by Avatar, the fighting game, which is so fun and fast and awesome.
So, okay, this is my next question, Woolie.
Yeah.
Should I get in on Avatar? Is that my side quest for next week? Or for next month?
What I will say is Avatar is like, it is a 1v1 fighter that is more Street Fighter-like in that you don't have to deal with like the multiple character thing, but it's so fast and hectic and crazy, but like that's exciting. And I love that aspect of it. And I feel like it's so fun on defense and on offense, because holding the flow button and dodging things and playing defensively, all that Steve Fox shit that I fucking mark out for and go crazy for, every character can do it, you know? So that is a sick game. And I love Toph, the big earthbending, the cool earthbender girl. You know Avatar, you know some of those characters. You got your giant 7-foot, over 200-year-old, angry, bisexual Avatar Kyoshi hanging out, just tanking people. It's a really cool game with some really cool characters, John.
Wait, Kyoshi? Who is this?
Kyoshi.
I've watched the first Avatar, but never the second.
Kyoshi is not from the second Avatar. Kyoshi is the one that came before. It's 2 avatars before Aang. She's a character that only shows up in the past. She only shows up in the past, and she's a giant woman that's very angry and very awesome.
And she's in this game?
She's playable in this game, correct.
Sick. Okay, cool.
But it's something where like you have this kind of game that is, it's also a $30 game, so I'm like, God, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just like, this is a game that is gameplay wise the exact opposite of Tōkon. It is letting you do anything you want, freeform to your heart's content, you know, and you might fight an Azula that's going nuts on you, and you have to just be like, what just happened? I have no idea. But like, I like seeing and engaging and playing games where I see someone do some shit and I go, I can't do that. I will never be able to do that. I have so much respect and fun for that moment when I play a game. So I'm also like looking over at something that just released, and I'm also like, man, that's the opposite of what I'm feeling with this, you know?
Yeah, sure. To close it out with Tōkon, I would say I am enjoying the game, and I am going to spend more time with the game. Like, there is something here I like. It's just...
You on console, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just that, like, I think if you say Arc Sys, Guilty Gear, Marvel fighting game, there's a gap between what this game is and what I kind of wished it was. But that said, look, there's other things that are good about it as well. I think the single player is like fun. The writing is surprisingly good.
The story is
there's
really
a bit
fun.
where like Dr. Doom is having his minions sing as a choir, and he stops them and he goes, Dr. Doom has perfect pitch, and you're off. It's just like it's fun, you know?
Yeah, Deadpool is homaging every single fighting game ever made. Every animation Deadpool has is a reference to another fighting game throughout history. It's incredible. Love. I love that, you know?
And there is that love, and like that's one of the things I do love about like Arc Sys so much, is like generally you can feel how much passion they put into their shit. And just because I don't like some of the decisions in this game doesn't mean I can't feel and appreciate that passion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope that they can work through the technical stuff for the long term, because there should be more exciting games for people to play. And I also like the idea that they showed off Phoenix Cyclops as the first DLC character. So like, you're like, oh, you have no idea who's coming. You can guess anything. The most obscure pulls randomly from, you know, an issue you might have forgotten have a chance of showing up here. And that's an exciting thing to do. For sure.
Woolie, it says in the docket here that you have a Muse now.
Well, Listen, all right? If you take us back to an older time, a time of yesteryear, perhaps before the Roman Empire fell. No, listen, for anyone who's a fan of Muse, I just wanted to put a little PSA heads up, because you might have stopped listening, you know, somewhere a couple albums ago, maybe around Drones or the one after that or so. But they recently put out a new album called The Wow Signal, and it's really good. And it's just a little heads up that if you haven't been paying attention, Muse just put out an album and they're back to full power.
Cool. I like the only album of theirs I listened to was Supermassive Black Hole, and I should have listened to more because I fucking love that album.
Yeah, Black Holes and Revelations is really, really good. Mm-hmm. That's one of the best. I love that era of them the most. It's my favorite era. And if you are a fan of that style of Muse, there are songs on this new album that are right in that pocket.
Sold. Knights of Sidonia, that song.
Exactly. Knights of Sidonia, Hysteria, right? That era of them. They've got some songs in here now that are hitting that style. There's a really sick song called Cryogen and Night Shift Superstar, which are really good. But if you're also a fan of old Muse, if you like their raw guitar riff style plug-in baby Muse from a million years ago, they've got tracks that are like that too. And if you're into the newer Uprising Madness, style Muse, they've got a couple of tracks that are almost like sequels to those songs too. So it really is an album that I feel like covers all the three big eras of their styles and has a lot of great, just quick, fun listening on it. Out of nowhere, I was like, holy shit, they're back in good form. This is great. I'm excited. So yeah, just PSA, the WoW signal is really good. Go check it out.
Hell yeah.
Best thing since, I'd say the Second Law or like Resistance. Best album since then. Mm-hmm.
So Woolie, I had a lot of time to lie down recently and not do a lot. And one of the things I chose to do at my time was watch the New Japan Climax G1 tournaments.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with this at all?
I've heard the name, but I don't know the format or like...
So this is New Japan's annual round-robin style tournament. You have Block A, Block B, 10 or so wrestlers in each. Every wrestler fights every wrestler.
Oh my God. Okay.
And then the top two in each block at the end of all that enter a 4-man tournament, and the winner is crowned the winner of G1, who gets the right to challenge for the heavyweight title. And New Japan Woolie has been in a weird spot for, I would say, half a decade now. And a part of it is that we are on the 10th year anniversary of the golden age of New Japan, or at least a golden age of New Japan. The Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, like Tetsuya Naito. You cannot name a better heavyweight division than that ever.
I was going to ask if the Golden Lovers were part of the golden age, but I shouldn't have to.
No, they are. They like their ascension kind of heralds that golden age in New Japan in a lot of ways.
Got it.
And what was so exciting about that age, it was this feeling that like New Japan is about to break big. Like New Japan is about to become this global force. But then two things happened. COVID-19 and AEW. And AEW basically ends up, hiring Kenny Omega, and then later hired Okada. Tanahashi retired. Kota Ibushi never became the guy in the way that I always dreamed he would be, because to me, to this day, Prime Era Kota Ibushi is the most freakishly talented natural wrestler I have ever seen in my life. He's incredible. He can sell, he can go heel, he can be the cutest, most innocent babyface, he can do the sickest fucking moves, just unbelievable. And it just seems like the guy maybe had a lot of personal problems, maybe something a lot of injuries caught up with him, like just something went wrong. And what it meant is that when you get to like 2026 New Japan, we've spent about half a decade trying to find the new ace of New Japan, trying to find like the new guy. And it hasn't really worked out. You have this one guy, Shota Umino, who everyone can see the potential he has. Everyone can see how good he is in ring, how charismatic he is. He has not found the combination to make it work. You know, his main rival, Ren Narita, is like this brilliant natural wrestler who, for some godforsaken reason, has been jammed in this awful fucking faction whose whole thing is we cheat all the time. And so whenever starts to get a match going and it starts to feel good, interference happens and it just ruins it. It's awful.
And is this a time where more people are starting to look away from WWE towards other, wrestling promotions to hopefully get something going? Is this a time where they have a spotlight on them that
absolutely be, I would say, I'm not watching WWE at the moment for a lot of different reasons, to the point that I could say, like, I have nothing to say about, like, the current state of WWE because I'm not watching, and I don't want to shit talk the company just because, like, there's a lot of very talented wrestlers who work there. But yeah, I've talked about it at length for so many reasons. I'm just not watching WWE right now. And that was a big part of what made me want to check back in with New Japan. I was like, oh, the G1 Climax is coming up. This is like a perfect temperature take of where New Japan is at.
Okay.
And it was an interesting G1. I don't want to go too into it because I have a video coming out next week on Regular that we can kind of go into it more. But I want to just talk about some highlights here. Number 1, Yuto Ice. Imagine like Vanilla Ice combined with an especially angry rhinoceros.
Vanilla Ice.
And you get Yuto Ice.
The JoJo or the food?
The rapper.
Okay, sure. Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm. His entrance music goes, "Let's get high." And the commentators always go, "That's right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get high on pro wrestling."
This looks like WCW Nitro energy coming off of this dude.
Big time. Big time.
Okay.
And so it's like, okay, he's this kind of bright spark. There's another guy called Yuma Umemura, who a lot of people are very high on. Personally, I think he has a great presentation, but his shit's a little soft. I just never buy his matches as actual fighting. And then we have Woolie. Ryohei Oiwa. May I tell you what this man's finishing move is?
Okay.
A headlock.
Okay.
He takes the most basic move in wrestling and he makes it his finisher. And it turns into this thing, right, where he's doing the headlock and he's fucking cranking it. And it's like, oh my God, he's going to break that dude's skull, and you're believing it and you're buying it. And then the dude picks him up and backdrops him backwards and slams him into the mat. But he won't let go. He won't let go. And it's like, it's actually fucking hype, you know?
Nice. Okay.
And
that's
it's great. It's really good. And so I go through the whole G1 and it's like, okay, they're also talking about like this new evolution of strong style wrestling. And strong style wrestling, Woolie, is like Japanese lads actually just beating the shit out of each other to make it look strong. I'm a huge fan of strong style wrestling. It's got its drawbacks. It is hard on talent. It is rough, But so they're talking about this new era of like mat based strong style, which is like the headlock. It's a lot of like it's much less like getting kneed in the face at 1,000,000 miles per hour, much more like kind of slow paced and psychological. And I'm watching the whole tournament and I'm trying to get behind this new style, and it's just not clicking for me until finally the finals of the G1, and at the very end you got Yuya Umemura and Ryohei Oiwa, and it's like, okay, at this point there can be no doubt what this tournament is. This is attempting to crown a new face of New Japan. This is attempting to usher in this new era. And they go for 30 minutes. And the first 20 minutes are wrist locks, headlocks, and the simplest moves you could imagine. And Woolie, it's hype as fuck.
Nice.
It's genuinely, and it clicks. This whole thing clicks. And I'm like, I see it. I see the vision that New Japan is going for here. And by the end of it, our boy, Ryohei Oiwa headlocks his way to victory. And it's like, this is new up-and-comer. 2 years ago, Woolie, people were describing this guy as a shit wrestler. Like,
wow.
It was...
Okay.
And he's found it. The glow up. And, like, I still think his presentation needs work, but he's there, and you can tell he has, like, this natural connection to the audience. And it's kind of exciting, because, like, for the first time in perhaps, like, half a decade... I'm pretty hopeful about where New Japan's going, and it's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you say strong style, I only think of Shinsuke Nakamura. That's all I really know. You know, like
he's the king of strong style. Like yeah.
But like, I guess, well, with this format, this might sound blasphemous and kind of crazy, but like, is round robin potentially not too much wrestling? If everyone fights everyone?
It is, and there's some dog water matches in there.
That sounds like so much.
Yeah, I think I did the math, and it was like 68 matches over the course of a month.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is thorough, right?
Guess what your recommender die is this month, buddy?
Oh boy, the endurance run.
It's not.
Yeah, okay.
It's a crazy thing to watch, and it's only for like wrestling hardcores.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a while since I watched every match from the G1, and I did just want to see like, okay, New Japan, where are you at? And I'm so glad I did, because that final match. That is currently on cagematch.com, which is like this wrestling match rating website. That match is ranked number 8 of all time.
Wow. Okay.
Now, I'm going to say, that's insane. That's fucking crazy.
Recency bias.
No, it's not that good.
Recency bias. Yeah.
But I think the problem is that like it is a herald that New Japan might be coming back in the way everyone wants it back.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. And I guess like, is this type of thing where you get to see everybody interact with everybody, like, is it almost like behind the front line story of like trying to find their new, star? Is there something behind it where it's like, this is the roster trying to like figure out their language with each other, like,
I would say there's an element of that as well, because it's a very typical thing to happen during the G1 that a wrestler kind of finds themselves,
Okay.
And it's like there's another guy, Yota Tsuji, who is also he's like another, I wouldn't say he's like a failed experiment in terms of being the like ace of the company, but he is the current champion, and he's not that guy. But I would say he had the most consistent matches over the whole G1. And that is proof that, like, okay, maybe this dude isn't the ace. Maybe this dude is the guy fighting the ace in the main event.
Okay. Because I can definitely see something like this being, like, it's almost like in order to become this good, you've got to just get the numbers under your belt. You got to just run this number of sets, and we should be doing this anyway, but we're going to be filming the process. But these guys should be wrestling this much to get as good as, you're hoping
There
for.
is definitely an element of that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. If I can grab the baton there.
Go for it.
Something that I recently made my way through, going way back a ways from release. I do it on my own delayed Woolie schedule, but I just finished Phoenix Wright 2, Justice for All, the Ace Attorney
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And
I her name is escaping me. Girl lawyer.
Franziska von Karma.
No notes. No notes, Woolie.
Franziska von Karma. Nein, schnell. Whip, whip, whip. Yeah, my notes are like these like prosecutors are getting more and more like, you're not just prosecuting, you are helping the criminals, like with some of these cases.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Wait, okay. Sorry, Woolie. Am I to understand you haven't played Phoenix Wright 3?
Well, that's what we're working towards, right? I have not.
You have not experienced Godot.
No, but I know about some of these cool dudes that he's got the glasses and he loves the coffee. And
the glasses and coffee are like the least cool things about that character.
Exciting. Yeah, no, I started the Phoenix Wright franchise LPs whatever some time ago, and I've been working my way through. We basically are just like, now that we can voice act and read them out and not get exhausted after doing a full visual novel for a day, fuck it, let's see what's in store. But I'll say this, finishing out 2, I have never experienced such a strong moment of quality whiplash in any media I have ever experienced as the second to last case in that game, which is Turnabout Big Top, where you go to the circus.
Oh, I hate that case.
It's the worst case I have ever seen in any of these games so far. It is insanely bad. It is bad. It finds new ways to get bad.
Yeah.
The characters you get introduced to are all annoying. The location you're in is annoying, and then it makes you stay there for longer than you need to usually.
I remember there being so much pixel hunting in that.
There's
case.
Absolutely pixel hunting. Then you encounter just in terms of in-lore stuff, it's just really weird too, because like you've got this girl that's 16 and then all these adults have the hots for her, and it's super weird there. And then you start the actual trial, and then in the trial, the game is like, don't press the clown for more clues, otherwise you take damage. And it's like, pressing is the only mechanic. What are you talking about? That's the game. The game is pressing statements and then presenting evidence. And it's these weird moments of just like, don't play the game to play the game. And then you just get like this thing where you're following the annoying logic all the way through. You're dealing with the most annoying things. And then the actual twists and turns of what happens and how you're supposed to figure it out are just absolute batshit nonsense. Like, it's a case where the moment of truth of like, I can't figure out how this crime happened is like, oh, like cartoon Acme Looney Tunes logic occurred, and you had no chance of possibly assuming that's what happened, you know? Whatever, spoilers for this a billion-year-old game. There's the case, the murder, the heavy weight that drops down to kill the person, and then there's a cape and hat that drop off of a statue and hook onto this thing accidentally, and then get pulled back up off the scene. It's just nonsense, and it's so upsettingly bad that you're like, by the end of it, I'm like, I'm disliking this entire IP more because of how bad this is. Only to find out that A, the creator Shu Takumi wrote this case when he was drunk and passed out on a time limit, and second, it's apparently his favorite case.
Wow,
it's so nuts. And then
I'm not gonna say a bad word about Shu Takumi. I mean, Ghost Trick, this
sure. But this is a filter and a half. If you're going to quit this franchise, this is the place to do it. But you don't... I
think that is one problem with Phoenix, right? I do think the quality of the case is just... It varies so wildly across all games. I think one of the most consistent case games is like Ace Attorney 1. And then one of the least... or not Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney. The Great Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
The first game of that I absolutely adore. Might be in my running for like my favorite one of those games.
Okay.
The second game is so long and so inconsistent.
Okay. Yeah. We know what's good about these cases. We know what we want from them. And I like when you break the mold, but like you can't do so by throwing out the things that make it fun.
Yeah.
And in this case, you get out of Turnabout Big Top, and you go into the final case of Phoenix Wright 2, Farewell My Turnabout, and it's one of the best fucking cases I've experienced so far. It's phenomenal, right? With the Nickel Samurai and Adrian Andrews, and like, it's such a good case, and it presents new problems for the character, and like, it's such a different way to have a finale compared to the first game had these big bombastic villains, Gant and Von Karma, and this is just this is a different angle entirely that's so interesting. You know, one of the most biggest struggles Phoenix Wright ever has is sitting down and cross-examining a normal person with real problems instead of a cartoon character that's going, you know, like, it's just a real person sitting there going, yeah, I'm sad. Yeah, and you're like, fuck, this is such a good case. And it ends incredibly well, too. God damn it, I fucking love Gumshoe. That man's a hero and deserves all the praise in the world. And I can't believe that one of the best cases ever came off the heels of the worst case ever. And how you can go from one to the other, I just don't understand.
That is not the last time that will happen.
Oh, man.
But I will say, like, my favorite prosecutor in all those games is Godot.
Okay.
And like, just his dialogue, even the shit cases, I just remember his lines from them.
Okay.
And I don't even know how to describe his vibe. It's very, like, he's kind of nearly like a superhero, but like a really poetic detective noir. I don't know. He's so weird, but he's amazing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I want to see what that's about. I want to see what those rock and roll brothers are about in the future, and there's a bunch of characters that seem interesting just from the sprites.
Third game also has like maybe my favorite opening case as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. I just couldn't believe this moment of like the same brain that came up with this shit fucking knocked it out of the park with that. And I guess that was like one bottle of Jack Daniels away from happening. Like, the whiplash is wild. I'm glad that I know that there's good stuff that people are telling me about in the future, because I for sure could see myself putting it down in the middle of one of these bad cases and potentially not coming back for a long
I would say in
time.
So many ways, ahead of you is the best of times and the blurst of times.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay.
Although I don't know that I don't think any case ever pissed me off as much as Big Top. I think if you survive that, you'll be okay.
And the one good thing about Big Top is that the villain of it is an interesting villain who is not just there for evil reasons and has no panic sprite. You know, the idea of the villain that is like fully behind their convictions is interesting. But the rest of it is so fucking sour and garbage. You can't get away from it fast enough.
Yeah, and the heel turn in that final case as well.
Oh man,
beautiful. Woolie, did you want to give us a little Yasmine update?
Yeah, I just wanted to check in on that because Yasmine looks like the makings of a character that you and I could 100% switch to and main forever. She's spunky, she's got that energy, and she's got that shyness and the back and forth of the two when she's in the middle of the fight. And shout outs to the Filipino representation. That's awesome. Getting on the board there. She's got her knife and she's stabbing you with it. She's got her Jollibee colors. She's got her Goku and Naruto colors. She's got all this cool shit going. Love her. And the style of her like critical art is like she just does the Minato Rasengan. Like it's insane how much fucking power she has. While charging up a basic Hadouken and going, Hadouken! And falling on the ground, you know? And then when it comes to gameplay, she's okay, but just kind of very basic. And
I've heard that a lot, which is disappointing. I haven't spent any time with her. I'm still gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah, she sounds... But maybe this is a character for new people, I guess. I don't know. But
No. So the last two characters, Alex and Sea Viper, were so complicated that they were very hard for new players to grasp. Understandably, right? Viper has always been that way, but Alex became a real technical wrestler. And you got to put time in to learn the ropes with him.
I did, and I love him. I love playing as Alex.
However, Yasmine is meant to be a brand new protagonist that's easy to pick up and approachable, and they achieve that. The issue is just that she doesn't have anything beyond that first layer of like, get in there, stab him with the sword, stab him with the knife, and then buff it up, and then stab him again. You know, there's these little moments of like, oh, there could be something cool there, where like she throws out she throws out the knife almost like a boomerang. And then she can jump in kind of like a Kuma, so that you can have the knife coming at the character and then you coming in, and you can maybe do like a little cross up, a little mix up here and there. But it's such a rare moment, and like, it's not something that her whole kit is based on. And it's unfortunate, because I feel like an opportunity could have been there to have something really fun. Like, do you remember Killer Instinct?
Of course.
Do you remember Maya? She had the 2 daggers. And she would throw the daggers at you, they'd bounce off, and she'd jump in and hit you, and then flip backwards and catch the daggers in midair and keep comboing you. You know, and it was a really
pretty cool. Yeah,
it was a really fun character that like had a whole style of like picking the daggers up off the ground and bouncing them off of the opponent, and then getting in, and the rhythm of like juggling all of that together looked really stylish and fun. And Sokka as well throws out a boomerang in Avatar, and you catch it back to do stylish things. I feel like she could have been a character that did something like that, but they kind of just kept it really, really tame. And so as a result, and her damage is very low, so people are kind of like not feeling the excitement of this new character. And I'm like, that's a bummer, because the potential for a new Makoto energy protagonist, spunky girl in Street Fighter is extremely high. And if she just had more fun moves, I think she would have been a smash hit character. But all the excitement from her trailer and her reveal kind of dwindled, just because playing as her there's not much going on, you know?
It tells me maybe they're going to get super weird with Arjun.
Yeah, apparently he's a weird dance-based, character. Might be referencing Bollywood movies. Not too sure. And then Bosch is also going to be like completely different from his World Tour mode. So I'm hoping for wild, new, exciting things. Because, you got to have a cool character that sells you on the image and the style. But then once you press buttons as them, you want that to actually live up to it too.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, that's all that's happening with her.
Cool. Speaking of fighting games, speaking about questions about fighting games, as we mentioned at the top of the show here, we have a Patreon, and you can head over there. And, we have a few plans for whatever your desires from this podcast may be, but many of them grant you access to the Intermission Lounge, the special guest podcast. You might be asking, who is the special guest listener? It's you.
And the Intermission Lounge folks were the first people to find out about the billboard. They had that insider information prior to...
Those guys were so bored when we were talking about it earlier in the episode. They were like, oh, come, I know.
Old news, guys.
But yeah, we have the Intermission Lounge, which is we release a second podcast every month where we talk about all kinds of everything. We have talked about, we take a lot of questions. Those lead to a lot of fun, weird life stories, many of which I will definitely never talk about on a wider context, because holy shit. But we also sometimes talk about like media that maybe doesn't make it onto the main episode. Maybe something gets combo broken. I am bookmarking an Attack on Titan episode. I am deep into that 4th season. I have some thoughts.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm glad. I saw a lot of people going like, thank you for saying you enjoyed Attack on Titan, because it feels like you can't say that too loudly these days. And I'm like, no, it's fucking sick,
Okay,
man.
look, I still don't know what's coming at the end of the Attack on Titan. I don't know. I see like the parallels to like the Second World War and stuff. I can see how that could be extrapolated into stuff. Sure, whatever. Warhammer Titan. Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of it is because the manga ended like faster and more unfulfilling, and then the show fleshed out a bunch and made it better, you know. So
okay, look, we'll get there.
We'll get there. But nonetheless, that is over at patreon.com/versuswolves podcast. And yeah, who knows, you know, thank you guys this time for Times Square. Maybe next time Tokyo Tower?
The moon.
giant Versus Wolves logo on the moon.
So this
and you can
week
send in a question, which we may answer.
And this week we have one from Four-Eyed Oni with 3 eyes, I believe. Dear Dire Wolf and Woolly Mammoth, I really like that one. I was at my local one scene, and someone was with their date watching on Street Fighter 6 cabinet. I like to get local matches when I can get them, and decided to challenge him. I immediately realized the person was here for fun, as they would not stop jumping and mashing, eating every DP I sent in response. Ultimately, I wanted to be the wingman in this situation, trading rounds, but in the end, letting them take the match. I went over to the other side of the cabinet, fist bumped him, and gave him a nod, said my GGs, and went along my way. Of course, my pride told me to eke out a perfect match and land a raging demon during the rounds, though. My question is, do you stomp out the guy who is on a date, or do you come in with the assist and lose the match on purpose, secretly?
Well, you see, the question here already states, I wanted to be the wingman in the situation, trading rounds, but in the end, letting them take the match. But they don't say what happened.
I think the implication here is that they lost.
No, I think the implication here is that they are... Is that the implication? Ultimately, I wanted to be the wingman, trading rounds, but in the end, letting them take the match. I went over to the other side of the cabinet, fist bumped them, gave them a nod, and went along my way. But my pride told me to eke out a perfect match, and so on. So it sounds like
I think it's saying that, no, he did what he considers the honorable thing and let the guy win, because ultimately... I wanted to be the wingman. It's a little unclear, but that's my take on it.
I see. I read that as they proceeded to stomp them out, not as thoroughly as they would have wanted to, but nonetheless did so anyway. But it could be what it could be your reading. I could see what you're saying there. Either way, there is nothing wrong.
It's a moral quandary, right?
It is not a moral quandary.
I also don't think it's a moral quandary with an easy answer.
Yes. I think, listen, if you know that you are on a date with somebody and you know, first of all, that they're the type of person that'll enjoy coming to the arcade, then that's cool. Right. But make sure that that's the case. Don't just drag somebody to the arcade simply because it's just your interest and you don't know that they would enjoy themselves. Because I've seen that happen. And sometimes that can go fun, but sometimes it can be like, here's the board partner just watching someone else do their thing. And sometimes for people, like, they enjoy watching their partner be engaged, and that's feeding them and they're enjoying that too. But you got to make sure that that's who you're with. Right. Either way, the moment you walk in and put that quarter into that machine, you gonna learn today. And you are getting the unfiltered, absolute might of everything that I have, because anything less would be disrespectful. And if you are bringing your date to the situation to show them what it's like, then what better experience than the truth? Than the reality of the situation. We don't want to start this relationship on lies. We want it based on real. The 100. I keep it a buck. You're going to learn today.
You know, Woolie, many years ago at a Comic-Con, there was a setup for Street Fighter 4. And I went over and I sat down and I'm just like, playing away, and I get a new challenger message, and I look over and it's a father and son. And I looked at the dad and he seemed like a genuinely nice dude. And I looked at his son and he's like telling his son about Street Fighter, and his son's like drinking it in, and like the pair of them, this is a moment, and it's like the match begins and I'm kind of like, what do I do here? And I body that man 5-0. He didn't get a single fucking round.
That's what I'm fucking talking about. Are you
and
gonna
you know
put
what? He looked at his son, Woolie. He looked at his son after that 5th match, and you know what he said? Sorry, son. Your old man's not good at everything. Welcome to the world, kid!
A lesson was learned.
Welcome to reality! And so, in this scenario,
But the
Woolie,
damage was irreversible.
oh yeah, no question. That child's fucked
Are
up
you
now.
gonna put the quarter back in my wallet?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna put the money back in my wallet?
So in this scenario, Woolie, with this young gentleman and his date, who the fuck is he? Why do I give a shit about his date? You fucking come in here. I'm more look, I see a dude and a girl out on a date. I'm more concerned for the girl. I don't know what the dude's gonna do. I don't know if he's a good guy. I'm going to expose what this man is. Maybe he's really good at Street Fighter and she learns that. And I might even look at her and go, this dude can play. Maybe he fucking sucks. You best believe he's learning that. She's learning that. I owe this man nothing.
You owe the partner the truth by exposing it. Light for the world to see. And then you stand up after the match is done and you go over to the partner and you go, hey, your turn. Your turn. Sit down. Let's go. We're playing. Are we playing?
If you too would like to submit a question to the Versus Wolves podcast and result in a, quite frankly, unreasonable outpouring of emotion from me and Woolie, you can head on over to patreon.com/Versus Wolves podcast.
I guarantee you that night would be the best wingman you could be by stomping both of them out.
You know what I'm a fucking wingman to? The truth!
This dub.
Woolie. I checked out, upon your request, Don Hertzfeldt.
Little quirky,
excuse me,
little quirky guy.
Little quirky. Okay, so I went to animation college, and so at some point, Don Hertzfeldt did the rounds, and specifically rejected.
You couldn't avoid it. It was everywhere.
And this is an interesting part, Woolie, because I'd say the last 3 episodes, with talk of Amazing Digital Circus and Homestuck, we've talked a lot about the internet, and I think at some point I talked about Homestuck as this artifact of the primordial internet. Rejected is there right alongside it.
Yes. And I feel like it's not in the timeline of things that we would follow through here on this, our Homestuck, Amazing Digital Circus. I talked about the Toby Fox energy of things and, how all these little things connect. But Hertzfeldt is that's a separate thing, and it was way in the past, and it inspired a lot.
So I would say,
was a moment.
This whole idea of cringe millennial humor. You've seen this discussed?
I feel like I've heard about cringe millennial humor quite a bit, actually. And depending on where you're going with this, I might have something interesting, some interesting insight into how Rejected fits into this narrative.
Okay, because that's kind of... This is where my mind is going here.
Yeah,
because
hit me.
I feel like Rejected played a huge part in shaping a particular kind of early internet, early Reddit humor. And it's this very kind of like random...
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Random. Yep.
Very like Icon has cheeseburger, monkey, badger, all this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
non sequitur.
And so it's interesting because like I haven't watched Rejected since I first saw it, and when I saw it, it was probably like 2008, 2009, somewhere thereabouts. And I remember thinking it was the funniest thing I had ever seen. I just lost my spoon is too big, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Through no fault of Don Hertzfeldt, I watched it this time and I was kind of like,
So, let me put all my cards on the table right off the bat on this one. Mr. Hertzfeldt came to Montreal for the Fantasia Film Festival this summer. And he had a talk where it was an evening with Don Hertzfeldt, and I happened to be able to go. And I'm glad I did, because it was a really cool sit down where he discussed a lot of the work and what he's been up to and what he made back in the day. And something that came up, obviously, was Rejected and the creation and inspiration of random internet humor. And I mean, dude's so awesome. But like, I got to hear him directly say, he's like, yeah, so the funny thing about that is the random kind of humor that people tend to attribute to me because of Rejected is not exactly at all. To me, it's not the same thing. And I also don't really get that era of stuff as much, because what makes Rejected so absurd and funny is the framing device around it of the animator losing his mind. And that's the point, and that is what's funny about it. It would not work if not for the titles introducing the segments and kind of setting up what it is you're looking at with the learning channel and everything going on.
So
there.
He's completely right, but here's an interesting thing.
It doesn't matter.
Well, first of all, it definitely doesn't matter.
People take and do what they will.
When I went back and watched this thing, I didn't remember this framing device.
Right,
I didn't remember.
Right.
What did I remember? I remembered Silly Hat Party. Yep. I remembered the banana.
Yeah.
So, okay, for people, maybe we need to take this back like a second. For people who aren't familiar with this thing, Don Hertzfeldt is at this point a very famous animator. And he kind of came to fame in the early days of the internet, specifically, or early days of the modern internet at least, specifically for this cartoon, this 9-minute cartoon called Rejected. And the idea is that it's a collection of rejected shorts from this animator who is trying to like sell his ideas to like different companies to use as like marketing or whatever. And the ideas are so absurd and so silly that through them you can start to see this animator losing his mind, and it gives you these little like text updates about how he's doing. And the animation is like really rudimentary looking, like it's just pen on paper, but it's also like, this is like fake bad animation, because it's not bad animation. The characters are really simple, but the animation is on point. Like the way they move, their expressiveness, how like accurately they portray emotion. It's all very like, oh, this person has very clear skill.
And it's funny because it also betrays itself by the point where you're seeing like crushed paper animation, where like the waves and the actual medium itself, the drawings themselves, are being affected by the page they're on being animated as it's being crushed and distorted, and waves of that are happening. And furthermore, the lens that is capturing the animation frames, the focus, the zoom, the move, the things like all the camera tricks that are occurring are clearly advanced. So
Yes.
it is deceptively bad animation. That it's not bad at all. It is in fact highly skilled.
Yeah.
Takes a level of mastery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that this kind of style probably resulted in a lot of student films like borrowing the aesthetic but not having that underlying skill, you know?
Yeah, I think so. And I think not only that, but like he also talked about like how commercials would come out for products that were trying to emulate this style as well, because of how successful it was and how funny it was and how that spread, you know, pretty virally before YouTube was a thing. And the irony of that being that like the actual short itself is making fun of commercials and the whole, you know, extreme capitalist hellscape takes, and just kind of like repurposing that to actually sell something afterwards with his art style is just like, you know, and it just there's nothing sacred. It's kind of hilarious that happens anyway.
Yeah.
But it is this old hilarious relic of the time, and I don't know if you ever got to see it, but like he did release on his channel there were commentary tracks, so that there was like with subtitles of like extra commentary about the creation of it and things like that, and it's just a little more insight into what was going on at the time. And it's just hilarious because it's like the most self-deprecating shit ever, you know. But that was at the time, like I would say, it was deeply funny, but it also like and like it kind of I was quoting that the way people quote Anchorman when that came out years later. Like that was a big early quotable fun series short back in the day. I also, though, like after that, I remember kind of thinking like, what else is this person up to? What have they done? And went to go look up and found out that there was a couple other animations that had happened, including Billy's Balloon, which is like which came out before.
Which is this is a Junji Ito manga.
It's straight up. It's Junji Ito, 100%.
It's just a little kid, and his balloon starts attacking him. And that's the entire 6 minutes of the thing. And then, like, there's this bit where, like, the balloon raises him up in the sky to drop him. And then another balloon raises another child up in the background. And it's like, oh my God. And then it's just, like, all the children and that was... I really enjoyed that. I would say, like, it definitely plays into, like, a kind of pattern in his stuff. And this, again, was all over the early internet. Like, this was Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Cute thing, immediate inexplicable violence.
Yeah. I would say too that what I really appreciated about it is like it has to me that is perfect comedic timing, like frame perfect comedic timing. The delay,
and all his shit is
just frame, right?
Yeah.
The delay between how long it takes for the balloons to get into a somewhat nefarious position, and for the kid to go from smiling to kind of frowning, and like for the little hint, and then the eventual violence that occurs. It's all done with such build-up, pregnant pause, and then, or like the lift, we go out of frame one more time. We're not smiling anymore. Oh, this is really high. And then you see how high up, and then drop, you know, like a lot of that is really just timed amazingly.
I remember
well.
In animation college, a person told me, is like, if your timing is good and your drawings are bad, people won't notice.
Huh. Interesting.
And it's true. Like the kind of rhythm that actions happen, you don't have to be like the best drafts person in the world. If the timing is good enough that people feel it,
then they're going to believe it. And I'd say like you can really see that in this short, but particularly the way that the balloons hit the children. Like, it doesn't feel hard enough to feel cruel.
No.
But it's hard enough to be doing some slight damage. And it's like, oh, I don't know how to feel. And it's all down to like the timing.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, you know, the gist of what was there. I also remember back then too, for me, well, I was in college as well. And this is when I was president of the animation club, you know. And
was it an anime club or an animation club, Woolie? I think we should just be distinct about that.
The name was the Animation Club.
Okay, what kind of stuff do you guys watch? A lot of animation, a lot of Western European animation from the Cold War, was it?
Well, funny you should ask that, because I'll have you know that yes, we did, because I was at the time someone I reached out to when I found out about what Don Hertzfeldt was working on, something called The Animation Show, which was a movie that had collected multiple animators from all over the world, Bill Plimpton and all kinds of amazing stuff, including Don Hertzfeldt's work. And I was one of the, I got it to air at the college. And I remember like that was one of the first places in Canada that ever aired it. You know, this is way back in the way in like 2003 or 4 or so. So yeah, there was anime, but I was also reaching out to get animation, and I did get some, and in fact was able to get some of the, like, you know, country national premiere animation going from early Don Hertzfeldt from fucking over 20 years ago. So yeah, I did it.
You son of a bitch, Woolie, I'll get you someday. So yeah, and like it's really interesting to hear you say that he kind of like nearly rejected that style of humor then, because I would say his shit goes off in some wildly different tangents after this point.
Yes, it absolutely does.
The first one then is like, and I feel like this is the first film that kind of shows you, well, you can see it a little bit in Rejected. He has a film called The Meaning of Life that he does not long after this.
Yeah.
And it's basically the entire life cycle of a universe.
More or less in an abstracted kind of hyperbolic way. And it's funny too, because like it wasn't on the list, but it is a fucking sight to behold, because you're watching someone torture themselves by drawing this life cycle as you've described it, you know, of people going about their day and like everyone going about their day until that overlaps into crowds and crowds and crowds of just ridiculous, uncountable amounts of people, all hand animated, all timed individually, doing their own, walking about, repeating the thing that they repeat, living their lives. And eventually it kind of just like time just moves on, and it almost like goes, yep, that's a blip, that was Earth. And then we move on from Earth to life in just infinite other places, other realities, other dimensions. And it just kind of shows you just crowds of things evolving, becoming blorp, 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 living their lives and then dying, you know? And again, it's just like, it is a ridiculous labor of something that an animator would do almost out of self-flagellation. And I know he worked like really, really hard making all that the hard way. But it just shows you,
like, because there's scenes with like hundreds of characters, and like they're all very small, you know, but like he's drawing them all to the point that you can see like their details breaking down as he does, because he can't keep track of them all on screen.
And they're all voiced, and like every individual voice is lip synced to the characters that are screaming a certain, you know, like it's all there. Yeah. But all that is to say that, you know, that was a kind of style, and that kind of absurdist humor, I would say, overall continues throughout the work. But you know, I said I laid my cards out on the table, right? But now to tap them, if you would, there is a like turn, I would say, that It's Such a Beautiful Day brings to a lot of what he's working on. And there's something that comes along with that I felt you would appreciate. And you said you'd seen that one
So
already.
I had seen the first part of It's a Beautiful Day in a film festival.
Okay.
I don't think I saw the second two parts.
Okay, because the other two parts I had listed were I'm So Proud of You and Everything Will Be Okay. And
Yes.
Those are just parts 2 and 3 of the whole movie that is Such a Beautiful Day. But it tells the full life of the character involved.
It basically tells you the full life of this dude, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I'll say. The 3 movies of Such a Beautiful Day together, that's one of my favorite films I've ever seen.
Okay. And you've only seen the second and third part now.
Yes.
Okay, you got the whole thing.
I think that maybe I saw the second part back then. It long time ago now.
Okay.
But
all together.
It just like is the funniest, most tragic thing I've ever seen. Like there, so to give you like the kind of the tone of this thing, it's all these like, again, like stick men drawn on paper.
Yes.
And at one point it starts off and there's these two guys walking towards each other, and it's like Bill saw someone he thought he knew. He tried to say, "How's it going?" and also "What's up?" to the point that the two phrases merged in his head, and he said, "How's up?" Then he and the stranger made a half turn towards each other, but then when both saw that neither was fully stopping, they both turned back away and walked away. They never saw each other again. That's like the first 30 seconds, and it's so fucking real. And so then you get this like very like sad but like kind of ordinary story about this dude who has some horrible brain condition that affects his memories, and occasionally it's like you get these little moments where it's like, and then his cousin, he went to stay with his cousin had metal rods for arms and legs, and it's like, okay, that doesn't really make sense, because like the rest of this film is all fairly normal, and then later on it's revealed to you that like his brain condition is fabricating memories. So you've been taken through his real memories and his fabricated memories, and it's like, shit.
Yeah. And so this is something too where, you know, from the talk I can say that he was talking about that it's you know, a character, and it's a story that focuses on memory loss, but like the character is going through a real condition that is like unnamed, but he did research into what the condition is and how it would affect the brain. And so these are all, what you're seeing here are real symptoms that someone would go through affected by that. I feel like I suspect like one or two, I have a suspicion about what I think it is that Bill has. I might be wrong. I think he might have aphasia. But either way, even if that's completely off, like what you see then is like the memory that he has and then what is being lost. There are moments where it just brilliantly kind of pulls the scene in to one corner and then has multiple scenes in different areas all happening simultaneously. And you kind of get to just experience life as a rush all in one moment, and then sometimes, you know, isolated again. And it plays with the frame and with animation and all that in this way really, really brilliantly, while having a very somber, funny, but like sometimes light, sometimes heavy tone about just like what it's like to be kind of trapped in your head as you're going through this.
And like light and heavy and back to light again in the same 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. The entire cut to like Bill's family and like the mom and the grandmother, the upbringing, you know, like the idea of the grandpa one time choked out a rock in a fit of religious fervor, I believe was the, you know, just, and you're just kind of following this story of like absurdity, but ultimately like there's a level of mental illness that was like happening deep in a really, really undiagnosed way, going way back when, and you kind of just see how all of that comes to lead to the life that he ends up having.
Where it really looks like Bill's about to die, and then out of nowhere he starts getting better, and the doctor is talking to Bill's uncle and his mom, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, but he seems to be getting better. And then it's like, Bill's uncle, who'd flown out of state, looked mildly disappointed. It's like, and then it's followed by the line, Bill's mother took all the flowers that she had set up in his room and took them away. It's just so it's heartbreaking, and it's so funny in just this really like dry way.
There's this great moment where he walks around the block and doesn't really remember. It's such a beautiful day today, he says, and then walks around this house. He decides to go for a walk, and then he goes around and he comes back to his house. And before he goes back inside, he realizes, it's such a beautiful day today, and he decides to go for a walk. And then you just kind of have that like moment of being like stuck in it, which is like, okay, fair enough. That is what you can expect. But then like, as things like progress and like every moment means more because there's less of it left, you have the moment of like, he takes a walk around the block and you follow him around the block and see what he sees from each angle, eventually to the bridge. And it's just like, it's this thing that, it's kind of obvious, but like, it's just like these making the most of the moments you have kind of thought that is, you already know that platitude, you've heard it uttered a billion times, and yet still taking a moment to remind yourself of like here and now and what's good about here and now. You still need that reminder no matter how many times you hear it. And I feel like watching this, I was like, man, this movie makes me want to live life.
I feel like one of the things that I've really had to get better at as I get older is realizing when you're in like the beautiful day, and I always remember, and maybe I've told this story before, but like I always remember there was a MagFest we were at maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and it was just all of us just hanging out, just chilling, just real good time. And I remember having the strongest thought, and like at the time, it's it's MagFest and it's fun, and like we were doing some fucking thing where we were going from panel to panel, and we were catching drinks where we can, or catching up with homies where we could, and it was good. But like we were just going, and I remember kind of thinking, oh, it doesn't feel like it in right this second. This is absolutely one of those memories that I am going to be coming back to for the next 20 years.
This is one of the good times. Yep. Lock it in.
Because I really fully believe you do not have the capacity to understand what a truly great time is when you're in it. Like, it can feel fun, it can feel exciting, it can feel like all these emotions. The value that memory is going to take on is not going to become obvious for a while. And I think learning to spot that, even if it is just like a nice day, is such a big thing as you get older. Right.
I've created the dorkiest like mental like mnemonic almost for having those moments like sink in, because I remember having moments in the past where I've said like, remember this, right? Like don't just take this in, like accept it, and having some of those moments like kind of slip away still. But what something I'll do to myself now is mentally I envision. This is so dumb. I can't believe I'm saying this into a microphone. Have you ever used the emulator ZSNES?
I love that emulator.
So to make an absurd thing that I will remember because of how absurd it is, I imagine like when you press escape and then you bring up the menu and everything turns gray, and then there's that specific font and weird color and specific
and
cursor.
The snowflakes.
And the snowflakes and the cursor that looks a little weird. I imagine that going up to the save state button and going down and saving state 1 or state 2 and writing that moment. I imagine that moment happening over what I'm doing and going, commit this. And
I don't think that's like nerdy or whatever. I think that's just a good analogy for that.
But it's an analogy, but it's something that I literally think of because I'm like, this is a weird thing to be thinking about. I'm going to remember myself thinking about this emulator overlay on this moment, you know? Yeah. But it works. At the very least, it has worked, you know. But all that is an aside to just say that, you know, this is I think a great movie that like touches on a lot of this stuff, and it's a theme that ends up coming back around. In particular, though, I really enjoy. I was saying like this is something that is great to watch with a partner, because it brings you through all the gamut of feelings and emotions that you would want to share with somebody, and in particular, the way it ends, I feel is really strong. I'm a big fan of that ending.
So in the end, like this whole movie, or at least like many points through it, it really seems like whatever Bill has is going to kill him, and he's on his deathbed what feels like multiple times, and it's like it kind of, you keep thinking he's going to die, and then at the end he doesn't die. He lives for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, Bill has a moment where he feels that he has the urge to get up and just start going. And he doesn't know where he's going, but his body is driving him somewhere. It's taking him somewhere. He drives and he goes and he goes and he goes. And he doesn't know where he winds up, but where he does wind up is the place that he was with his ex-girlfriend sitting under the tree looking at the sky earlier in the film. And I don't think he's aware of the fact that he brought himself back there, but he just did. And in that moment, as he's looking up, it's like this would be the right time for things to end. But he couldn't possibly. It wouldn't end here. He can't die. No. And Bill rages against the dying of the light. He does not go gentle into that good night, at least in his head. And you watch as a sequence plays out where he lives on and on and on until everyone he knows is long gone. And then he meets new people. And then they're long gone, and he falls in love many, many times until humanity and Earth becomes a completely different thing from what it used to be. And then eventually he outlives all those and has long, fond memories of those loves until humanity is gone, and Bill still lasts. And then the next people that come to live on Earth, the next race of aliens moves in, and he's someone that they consider an ancestor, and they kind of worship him for being this old knowledge until they all die out. And then the Earth itself is gone, but Bill persists. And it's like, what amount of time, if you won't accept the end is now, what amount of time do you need to accept that time will eventually come for you? Do you need eternity? Because here's eternity. How would that play out? Let's think about it, right? Find the imaginary number that you need to accept, you know, whether it's eons from now to the heat death of the universe. And you just have to kind of face the absurdity of like, of course everything dies, because if it doesn't, then here's what it would look like otherwise, which is insane, you know? But it really is just like this great moment of like, yeah, Bill doesn't die. Bill lives on and on and on and on, you know?
It's interesting because like a huge theme through like all these animations is like time, right? And specifically like time and memory. And it's interesting watching it, especially after the eye stuff, because I spent 2 weeks just lying on my side, and I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even really like watch TV. I could listen to audiobooks is what I could do. That, and I think I can't remember if I said it on the podcast, boredom became a problem for the first time in years. Mm-hmm. Like I experienced boredom. Mm-hmm. And that 2 weeks was the slowest 2 weeks I have ever experienced. I could not believe how far away Saturday was, even though Saturday didn't even matter because Saturday was just going to be like Friday. And it crawled.
Molasses time, yeah.
Literal fucking, like, I don't know, like, just extrapolated time unfolding. And it's like some days I'd look at the clock and I'd be like, oh my God, it's 3 p.m.
how am I going to make it to 10 p.m.? And that 7 hours would be like the longest thing. And since like now I've been back on my feet, and especially like the last 2 weeks, I'm like back to work full time. I'm like streaming and doing everything again. What's kind of scary is that 2 weeks is the fucking blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like
now that time's moving again.
Time is moving again, and I am like, I'll be real, a little scared by the contrast. A little scared by how fast things are moving now, because it's like, wait, what? Because the year's going to be over soon, and then that year will be over, and then that year will be over. And what am I going to be then, you know? And it's like, I think it's impossible to look at these animations and not think of stuff like that. But having gone just through that, like very concentrated, time barely flowing at all, and now time flowing too quickly, it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, time has a gear shift that you can crank up or down at will inside your brain.
Or life cranks it up or down for you and you don't get a say in it.
True. And so something that also came about not long after this that I threw on the list of recommendations to watch here was something I'm sure you've already seen, but just to rewatch it, the Don Hertzfeldt Simpsons couch gag.
Yes, I have. Not only have I watched it, I have also, my favorite Jacob Geller video, who's a really great video essayist, is the Simpsons couch gag. He basically does a 22-minute video about this couch gag. And it's just one of those like perfect video essays. Like it's just, Jacob's like, he is such a talented, hardworking dude. And I just love this video.
The best Simpsons couch gag is about remembering what you love. Or was that?
Let me look it up just so we get it.
Sure, let's make sure we get it right. You're right.
The best Simpsons intro is about losing everything you love.
Yes. There you go.
What a fucking title.
Yeah. But it's a really good couch gag for the silliness of what it is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that video will break it down fully, but like you just watch this like version, you watch Homer, go through like the eons and eons and eons of time as like, even though this is something where, so Don himself said, like, he's like, it wasn't meant, people were looking at it like, oh man, way to own the zombie Simpsons for like never moving forward in time and being trapped in the cycle. And he was kind of saying, he's like, yeah, that wasn't really my intention, when he did it, even though people kind of read it that way. But it does show you that like, and when you go through time and you eventually wind up in whatever the year, in like the numbers don't make sense and the days don't make sense and the calendar doesn't make sense and shapes and quarks and lights and blips are all that are left. Every character, everything that was a Simpson is a like flanderized to the infinity version of itself. Whether it's just like a I am Simpson kind of Lisa shape, or eat my shorts like shaped character and whatever and whatnot. But within all that, you have Marge, and you see the shape of the creature that is Marge and the shape of the creature that is Homer. And she just says, I will always remember you, and that's no matter what else changes throughout time, no matter what else you lose, no matter what happens, the memories of the ones you love are the only thing you can hold on to. That's literally it. Everything else is going to go, including them,
Yeah. And this is another thing I'm kind of thinking about recently. I am 40 this year. And
boy,
it's
are you.
like, yep. And I mean, look, I know some people are like freaked out about like becoming 40 or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm good. That's 40 years. That's 40 fucking years. I feel 40 years old. I have been here for 40 years. I have lived those years. Those years have taken their toll on me, and I think I got some good hits in on them, but I'm 40,
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of think about like, well, okay, what's the thing you say to the 20-year-old? Like what's the takeaway there? What is this thing? And the only thing I can really come up with is like, your connections are the only fucking thing that matter. They are the only things that will matter, and they are the only things that will stay with you.
Cool story. Now, John, never mind the 20-year-old. What do you say to the 4-year-old? And that brings us to World of Tomorrow.
Okay.
What happened? You got flashbangs.
Many things. Okay.
Walk us through.
I will get to
Sorry.
what you say to the 4-year-old.
Okay, because I saw a really great segue, because you said, what do you say to the 20-year-old? And I was thinking, never mind that, what do you say to the little girl? Right? I thought that was a great segue, but you just got hit with a flash.
It is.
What was that flashbang moment that just happened?
We'll circle around. We'll circle around. Okay. So, okay. Here's the thing, Woolie. I watched It's Such a Beautiful Day, and it cemented itself as one of my favorite movies of all time. Absolutely loved it. 6 out of 7. Incredible. Great. And I think that point is the point that my resonating with the work of Don Hertzfeldt begins to diverge a bit.
Okay.
So I feel like everyone has certain things in media that will kind of like turn them off a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and this is completely like separate from the quality of the work or the value of the work, but there's two things in media that, like, well, there's a lot of things, but two of the things I would say are, one, when a piece of media gets too abstract with the nature of consciousness for me, at some point my brain switches off.
Okay.
And it's not that I can't understand it as much as it is I don't care.
Okay.
So when you have a piece of media and you start dealing with multiple versions of the same person or past, future selves, all this kind of stuff, there's just something in my inherent makeup where I can't conceptualize that, or I can conceptualize it to a degree, but at some point I just don't care.
Okay. So that is the crux of what that the World of Tomorrow trilogy is about.
Yes, it is about this little girl, and she's like playing, and she gets visited by her future self, who basically wants to take memories, or at least copy memories from this little girl. It's not her future self. It's a clone
of her future self. Yeah.
I think it's even a clone of a clone.
The ninth
of a
clone.
Yeah.
The ninth clone of her future self. Yeah.
And her memory is like kind of spotty. And so she wants to scan the memories of this little girl. And the little girl is voiced by a real child.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that is my second, like, bugaboo.
Really?
I don't like it when children voice children in animation.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I thought it was so cute, and I loved it because another detail of that, which I don't know whether it makes a difference or not, but so what the voice of Emily is in that is, I think Don was playing with his niece, and he was just recording them hanging out. And she was just saying random things like, "What's that? Oh, that's the triangle that he's the triangle man that is going to the fair." And she kind of like took those little like things and then just started animating some of the random childlike thoughts she was having to make some of those moments like make sense.
I I know that's what it is.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
can hear it. Like I can hear that the child is kind of just spouting a bunch of child words, but the problem is that's all I hear.
I see.
Can't, like, I cannot conceptualize her as part of the story. I just see an adult who thinks this child is cute and is putting them in media. And
Okay.
it completely
Interesting.
takes
Okay.
me out of the whole thing.
I had a very different response to the trilogy. I really loved it. Especially, I mean, and it like it does like go from there into other places, but for the most part, I think you have this little girl, Emily, is like the one pure being in this setting where clones and clones of people in the future that are all getting degraded are kind of coming back for like a chance at that purity, or coming back to implant memories that can be accessed later. And they're using people in the past's brains as like puzzles that can be accessed later on in time when you have the tech to come back and extract from it. And it gets into this super absurd, insane world where the desperation to hold on to what this clone's this clone fell in love at one point with this other one, and this moment that was so fleeting between them is so important to this one, or to this prime one, that like a lifetime of chasing down that one happy memory to try and get it back is like leading to this insane unfolding just katamari of nonsense that they have to go through.
That's so real as well, because I feel like one thing that so many people do, like including myself, is like you have the good memory and then you spend an inordinate amount of life trying to recreate that moment or trying to get back to that good memory.
That's it. And when especially there's a moment where it's cut short, the good memory's cut short, there's loss. And so all the Emily clones and all the David clones and this insane, ridiculous like chart of clones and love and time and trying to come back to just give these two another happy moment at some point, because that's all they have, and that's all they're obsessed with. It's so absurd and nuts. And in the middle of all that chaos is just this one pure character, this little girl, who's the only person who's not just weighed down by life, across the trilogy. And and then by the third one, where you're just kind of following David, who's like using his own brain as like his brain is running out of hard drive space because unlocked, unpackaged memories that are like zipped up are being extracted, and there's just something
at one point he has to uninstall his ability to walk
or to speak. yeah, exactly.
And like there was like see, that's the thing, like there is a lot of great stuff here, and intellectually I can kind of recognize it, but I think just like the subject matter and the way it's presented, it's just such a turn off to me.
Fair enough.
So like not everything's gonna hit, and I think it's important to be able to be like, this is clearly a work of brilliance that I don't like. This is that to me.
I feel like there's a couple moments that like just locked in for me, like the I guess the opposite sentiment. One of which was when they're walking through a miasma, and she's like, when they're going into the clone Emily's like fractured brain, where she's like, it's unstable, it's dangerous, just as a warning. And Emily Prime, little girl, just goes, oh, what's that? And picks up a little glowing thing, and she's like, that is a shard of hope. It has been eons since I have seen one. You should probably put that back. And she just kind of goes, okay, and drops it back into the abyss, and it's just something about like, the weight of like adulthood and memories and all this stuff that just destroys, I guess, the innocence, it's a really insane sci-fi journey into that, which it was also his first digital work. So like he kind of wanted to do something very digital vibe in sci-fi. So, but fair enough. That's, I think that the themes that came up in It's Such a Beautiful Day and some of that stuff, like they touch on those here. But of course, one of the big things like memory, it all comes back to memory. Memory is a key part of Such a Beautiful Day. It's a key part of The Simpsons couch gag. It's a key part of The World of Tomorrow. So obviously it's going to be a key part of on Memory, the short.
Mm-hmm. And this starts off with like this kind of jellyfish-like creature telling this story about how there are these two twins and they met Elvis, and Elvis kissed one of the twins but then had to like run off and didn't kiss the other one. And the twin who didn't get kissed was so jealous that over time they both disagreed on who got kissed because they both remembered being the twin that got kissed. And it's like, this is a really, I think one of the more unnerving parts about getting older is when you realize that you're not really remembering anything, you're just rewriting it.
Yes.
And you have that moment where I think it doesn't even happen by comparing memories to someone else, because at that point you're just so sure that you're right and they're wrong. It happens when you see like a film you saw when you were a kid and you remember it totally different.
So it's been proven that you don't remember a lot of stories or childhood things. You remember yourself telling those stories about your childhood. I don't remember going to Disney as a child. I remember the stories about, I remember the telling of the stories about when I went to Disney as a child. And that's easily, very quickly replaces the real memory, and that locks itself in. And I love that because in this story, as you're describing the twins that grow older and eventually they can't even talk about Elvis anymore because of how much anguish it causes them over which memory, about the rewriting of the memory. Don then talks to his mom about this story that she told him. And his mom goes, "That's not right. You've been remembering the story wrong." They never argued about it at all. They completely remembered who got kissed. And in fact, they weren't sisters, they were friends, and it wasn't a concert. It was a base at the Vietnam War. It was a Korean War base show that they went to. So like he was telling this anecdote about memory, about them, and he was remembering it wrong, and the mom corrected him on that. And like at that point, the interesting anecdote about memory being erased was already erasing a memory for it to become the point that was being made by the short.
Do you have any case of that? Have you ever like fabricated a memory and then been faced with absolute evidence that it's not true?
Well, so, okay, I talked about it just now, but it's like Disney. I don't have memories of Disney, but I remember these scenes playing out because I remember my brother getting lost, and I remember my cousin and him fooling around and wandering off somewhere, and I remember them getting spanked when they got found, and it was this whole big moment of lore. But I'm like, wait, no, I just have the scene that plays out in my head of me imagining that playing out because of how many times the family told the story, you know? And while I haven't been confronted with the car crash moment of that necessarily that I can think of, and it must have happened sometime. I do have a friend I remember was arguing back in the day and was very wrong about the thing they were arguing about, and like everyone kind of was like, "You're crazy for thinking that, that's nuts." And then the next time the argument came up, they had switched positions and actually were saying they were on the opposite side, and they were saying that they had rewritten which side of the argument they were on and remembered always being on that side, and were saying that everyone else was nuts for thinking that.
See, like, I believe that your friend believes that.
Truly.
But that is when someone has, like, I'm not going to say the ability, because I don't think that's what it is, but when someone has the capacity to rewrite relatively recent memories, that can be a very difficult person to have a relationship with.
Scary.
Yes. Did I ever tell you about the ghost soprano character?
No.
Oh my God, Woolie, okay? The first time I watched Sopranos, I watched it with my mom when it was coming out. And I watched, like, we didn't watch all of it, but like we caught, like, I think especially the later seasons, we caught a decent amount of them. And, you know, we'd miss episodes and like things would happen. And so I'd kind of come back and forth, and I would kind of like I would kind of have to fill in the blanks sometimes. And there was this one character in it, and I don't know, let's call him Joey Criminal. Okay?
Okay.
And Joey Criminal was this massive, huge dude. Like, The Sopranos has a lot of heavy set dudes. Joey Criminal was gigantic. And he'd wear these really like loud open collared shirts with like these big high collars, and he had like this massive like huge greasy pompadour. And in season 5 they found out that like this dude who has been with them since the start is a rat, and they bring him to a boathouse, and there's like a struggle. He realizes too quickly what they're doing because he's done with them with this so many times, and he gets a cleaver to the face, and it goes down across his face, and you just see this stunned look on him, and it's like you just see the blood spill, and he falls over and he's dead. Joey Criminal. I go back to Sopranos about 10 years later. I buy the box set, and I'm like, where's Joey Criminal? I buy the season 2 box set.
Oh
and
my
I'm like,
God.
I'm like, oh, he's not in season 2 either. And then I was like, well, I mean, me and Mam never watched season 2, I guess. But I think we did start on season 3. And he's not in season 3. By the time I get to season 6, I'm like, what the fuck? What did I remember?
Holy shit.
What happened?
You just merged Chris Moltisanti, Big Puss, and Syl all into the same person.
See, the thing is, it wasn't even that. I know why you're saying that, but I liked those characters. I had memories of those characters separate to Joey Criminal.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my God. Yeah.
And to this day, I have no explanation for it.
Holy shit. Okay.
Now look, I think the answer has to be that at some point I watched another mafia show.
Sure.
Took a different character and merged him into The Sopranos. That has to be it. But like, I'm saying that, and again, intellectually, yes, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Do I believe it in my heart, in my memories?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I've had something I can think of is like I've had versions of exaggerations it play out in my head where I remembered something like in this particular case I remember I was talking to Punch Bob about it was a commercial for this old candy called Baby Bottle Pop. And these kids would come in and they'd start singing baby bottle pop, right? And it was really goofy and over the top. And I remember this one kid in it that was really annoying. And I feel like, again, he, like you say, popped collar almost. And I feel like he was one of those kids with the hat backwards and the hair kind of sticking out. And I remember at the end of the commercial, he was really exaggerating, going baby bottle pop and, and getting into it. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this kid. I hate his movements. I hate the way he's singing it. I hate everything about his energy. It all is the worst. And going back to play that moment and watch it, it's just kind of a kid that just kind of does baby bottle pop. It's very, very much nothing. But the version in my head dialed up to 11 was the thing I was hating forever.
Could they have re-edited the video? Because,
yes.
Woolie.
Yes.
That original kid, so despised, so hated, that he saw no choice but to enter a life of crime.
Oh my God, it's him!
He was always there!
Oh, and he's holding a book with the Berenstain Bears on it. The Berenstain Bears thing fucked me up, man.
So it's the Fruit of the Loom one that fucks me up.
Yeah. There was never a cornucopia. It was always just fruits. That's nuts. But I just remember everyone, I think it's just because everyone said Berenstain, when we borrowed those books or read them or whatever. But yeah, it's that shit's Mandela effect. But the memory stuff is just really interesting though, and I feel like it's a very it's a strong thing to come back to, and it's a big thesis statement. And I guess at the end of the day, like, I feel like there's a line that is said in World of Tomorrow that kind of summarizes like the whole thing and everything we're talking about with these moments and these memories, and that stays with you, and at least stayed with me. And it's a moment where Emily says to Emily, now is the envy of all of the dead. And it's just, it's an aside, and it's meant to be an absurd thing to say to a child, because it is, but it's super real.
So real.
It's
Very,
the
very
realest
real.
it's ever been, and the kid is just like, okay, and then that's it. But nonetheless, it doesn't make it any less of a real thing to think about, Did you by any chance get to check out Me?
Yes, I did.
Okay. That one's a really weird, absurd one that is just kind of all up for interpretation, which is like, it's beautifully animated, and I believe it was supposed to be a tie-in with a band. I think it was supposed to be a part of an Arcade Fire music video or so, and then that fell apart. And then it kind of got repurposed into being something else. But the abstract nature of that, especially the last half of it, I was curious.
Where it's
to
just
see,
this singing brain.
Yeah, I'm like, is that the type of abstraction that tickles your fancy? Is that hitting a button for you or not? I'm curious.
Unfortunately not. I had
Fair
a very
enough.
similar experience with this one, where it's like, at some point, it's like my brain just doesn't want to engage.
Okay. I will say that there's definitely, the first half of that is a really interesting look at this, like, one person, this obsessed main character that is inventing and like ignoring the family, to invent something that is destroying society around them as society is collapsing, and walking on the way back and forth to the invention. And there's something about the idea of the child who floats into the sky when you're not paying attention to it that is kind of deeply horrifying in this moment right now for me, until eventually just like the parent that neglects the child, and then it floats and then becomes something you can't fathom in the sky is kind of just whatever that's about. But it is like abstracted to infinity. Last one, Paper Trail.
Absolutely killed me.
Speak on it.
Paper Trail is an animated movie. I have no idea how they made this movie.
Yeah. There's people are taking their guesses about it.
Basically, it's like you are seeing someone. So imagine if you were looking down on a piece of paper and you were like, someone wrote out their name. This entire movie looks like if the hand and the pen didn't exist and you're just seeing the writing form. And like, it's not even that they're masking it out and like making it appear in bit by bit. You're seeing the ink bleed into the paper.
And if this is something where I know just from seeing like it being discussed online and stuff, extremely spoilable type of thing. So like worth watching and checking out to like catch that moment or so. But we're going to talk about what it's about and what's happening in it.
Yeah.
How long before you got what was going on?
Quite quickly, I would say when we got to play school.
Okay.
And what about you?
Because, I would say around the time that you start seeing the name getting repeated a couple times, you're like, oh, so you're seeing squiggles of like a crayon, and then you're seeing a bit of marker and these little lines.
And at first, it's just like, it's abstract animation.
Complete
That's all you're
abstract.
seeing, right? Like you don't know what it is. And then it's like, oh, wait, this is a child playing with crayons. And then,
there's like a
then
face,
you start to see,
there's a bit of
you start to see like eyes and a mouth, and then after a little while it's like, oh, that's a cat, and it's like, oh, the child's like learning to draw. And then by the time you get to play school, you can see it like splashing paint and doing all this kind of stuff,
finger painting, and then writing their name on the name line on the page.
And there's some really like powerful moments in there because like there's this bit where you can tell the child is in like say like the last year of play school because it's all these like paint splashes and big colorful things, and it's cutting through all these different things like second after second after second after second.
The music
and then
is a beautiful score.
Yeah, and then it hits I want to say primary school. What's like
middle school?
What do you call it? Middle
Sure.
school.
Yep.
And all the color goes away, and now it's just
Pencil
handwriting
on page.
practice.
Yep.
You're seeing
Cursive.
like you're seeing them like practice the same letter over and over with like the guidelines and everything.
Primary
and
school,
it's like,
not middle school. Yeah.
Like-
Cursive. Yep. And then you go through, and then you hit like a couple of more advanced drawings, and then you hit middle school or high school, and then you just start seeing dot tests being filled out. Scantron. A B A D A C A B B B D C C A B D D tests. And you are watching the journey of one person's lifetime of drawing or ink left on page, and that's it. It's a life of every mark they've ever made on paper, animated
And, like,
in front of you.
You're getting all these little contextual clues, like at one point you start to see a girl's name kind of show up, and it's nearly like too quick to really parse what it's, but you just see her name like here, and like it's among other texts.
Yeah.
And then after a while it's like miss you, and then after a while it's like different town, and then it's like maybe we could, and then eventually you get graduation, and you just see this one, and it's like, got a job, I'll only be here for a year or two, and then you see the person's signature on finance reports.
I'm gonna make so much money.
Yeah.
Signature.
Over and over and over and over and over. And I think the really powerful part of this movie, like the bit that really got me, is you start seeing the years go by on these financial reports, and then you start to see the signature compress as their signature gets like more
abstract,
cramped and cracked and small, and eventually it's not even their name anymore. It's just like a little squiggle.
Yep. And you move past all of that to the final couple of little, like almost like if you were to get a pen out and grab an envelope to be like, is there any ink left in this pen? And you kind of just weakly doodle a line or two. And that's it. That's your whole paper trail. That's your life.
Yeah. And so I thought that was a brilliant movie. I would say maybe shy of It's Such a Beautiful Day, but like probably just as impactful.
Yeah, so that one's brand new, just came out this summer, and
it's weird because I feel like that movie is everything Don Hertzfeldt has been talking about since The Meaning of Life, stripped away entirely and laser focus communicated through this one thing, and it's incredible.
Agreed. Yep. And I believe that, I will say that like I've taken notice that like, so he toured to kind of like talk about Paper Trail, promoting this new thing. Some of his animation is showing up. It was on it was getting re-uploaded to YouTube. And it's like, this stuff is pre-YouTube. It's kind of crazy to see it getting put up again now, but it's been on his Vimeo page as well, where you could find this stuff. But I believe Dropout has just acquired the rights to put out some of these animations, because he's been indie in a way that's like, he said he's basically rejected more money from big studios and places than he likes to think about. Because the talent is there to clearly do a lot, but he just kind of wants to work on his own indie things. And I think there's finally a way to kind of get access to that if you haven't watched the stuff on Vimeo or anywhere else. But yeah, this latest one is really powerful, and I really like it.
Yeah, you can get it on demand from Vimeo, and that's the only place I could find it. It's 4 books. I know there's people who are going to scoff at the idea of playing 4 books for a 12-minute animation, and like, I get it, times are tight. But what I will say is, like, I think you got to measure media by the impact, not the hours. And this is one of the most impactful things I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's stuff that I'm just happy to support because I love all of these
completely.
And so that's kind of, you know, why I recommended them. Is I thought that there's some interesting things to be said about living in the moment that you might not appreciate while it's here, and on the memories of that moment. Basically, I find this is a really excellent suite that meditates on the subject, you know?
For sure.
Let's rank it.
And now somehow we got to rank it. So this is an interesting one because parts of this hit me so hard and parts of it just did not resonate at all. But what I will say, I don't think any of it's bad. It's just some of it falls so into a kind of media I don't care about. And it was really interesting going from loving it to then not caring, then right back to loving it with Paper Trail.
Yeah, I didn't know you had such an aversion to, like, I mean, I there's a lot of things where I find the child actor can be annoying, but like there's a lot of contexts where I find it works and I'm willing to go with it. I didn't know that there was such a kryptonite.
It's specifically the thing where you record a child doing something else and then incorporate that into a story. If it's a kid doing a voice, I still would prefer they just get an actual voice actor to do it.
Okay.
But like, I am less. It's less yanks me out of it.
Did you ever see that dad that takes his kids' characters and robot drawings and makes them like actually detailed and really cool?
Oh no, I love that. I love that because in a way that's the kid actually creating something.
Yeah.
Like the kid has onus in that. But in this, it's nearly like I don't know, it's like there's a dishonesty to it or something. I know that's a crazy take. I know people are gonna fucking make fun of me in the comments for that, but that's kind of how I feel, you know? It's like we're pretending this kid is something. I don't know. It's insane.
Well, we'll see how you feel when John from the future with a 9 on their forehead pops up with some important information for you. We'll see what your takes are then.
Let's see here. So, I think
I know I'm going to be bargaining on this one, so let's just...
You are definitely going to be bargaining on it.
So let's just start fair on it, you know? Let's just start fair.
I think Outer Heaven is a reasonable location. So, for those of you who may not be aware, we have divided the Pantheon of Greatness into several realms. There's the Silent Abyss, which we don't talk about. There's the Valley of the Wretched, which is some real fucking garbage in there.
The less said, the better.
The Field of Competence, which is like, okay, you know what? There's something here.
You did it. There's something there. You did it.
There's the thing.
You did it.
We have the Cloud Path, which is just straight up good media. You're gonna have a great time with this. There's Outer Heaven, which is like, okay, now we're into like some of the best media of all time.
This is a better use of your time than other things you're doing.
Yes. There is Within the Light of God, which is absolute you must experience this.
Life defining.
And then of course, there's the Throne of Heaven.
Yes.
Which, it's berserk.
And
the best piece of media we've ever experienced.
Unless we forget off to the side is the Liminal Zone.
The Liminal Zone, featuring Caribbean food.
And liminal spaces where weird things go. Okay, if you're okay with you said
Outer Heaven.
I'm okay with that. I'll take anywhere in there. That's okay with me. That's basically I was gonna fight. I was gonna fight for Outer Heaven. So if as opposed to the Cloud Path. So I'm okay with that. If you're
go for it.
I was just going to say that, like, I can accept it as long as I don't look at Roman Reigns, which bothers me every time we do this, then I can accept your placement here. I have an ideal spot, though. I would feel comfortable with above the Amazing Digital Circus. Just below Kill 6 Billion Demons Volume 1. I'd feel okay with that.
I will counter with below the Amazing Digital Circus, above Steel Battalion.
Deal.
Man, Woolie, this list needs some fucking
It
editing.
needs work. All right.
I like Kamen Rider Gav, but come on now.
The works of Don Hertzfeldt. Your new number 19.
Now, what I will
20.
say,
Wait,
if
whatever the number is. Anyway, yes.
if some of his later stuff had resonated with me as strong as it does you, we would be talking about a top 5.
I mean, it does. When I think about It's Such a Beautiful Day and Paper Trail, it's kind of crazy to me that it's not up there. It is kind of crazy to me, but I'm just not. The fight's not in me today.
Okay.
Some days the fight's in me, but today it's not. And I'm surprised about The World of Tomorrow, but hey,
It's such a specific thing.
it seems
know,
to be. It seems to
And
be.
it's like, it's not
That
even
third
one
one-
specific thing. It's 2 specific things.
That third one, following David and the clone heist, and in stepping between time and like the cleaners, and like it was so fun and interesting, and it was so enjoyable.
I don't know. Being your own grandpa, whatever. Yeah.
The Futurama did it first. All right.
But like, I think it's crazy as well because number 19 is like doesn't sound that high. This is a list of 55 things, and most of these things are things we deeply, deeply care about. Like, I mean, not far up, you have Kill 6 Billion Demons. What is Uma Musume doing this high? You have Ed, and Eddie. You have the Boondocks.
Here's what I will say. I suspect that Hertzfeldt's work is going to hit like BoJack, where maybe with time this will hit differently. Maybe the importance of it increases as you grow.
There's a lot on this list that has the potential to go down. I do see Hertzfeld stuff with the potential to go up. So look, maybe we revisit this in Grand Theft Audit.
That's fine. I'm not going to fight.
Okay.
I had more than enough of that for this month. There we go.
You know
All
what?
right.
No, I can't. No. Woolie, I'm wrong. I am wrong. I can't walk away from it.
Oh!
It doesn't beat Roman Reigns.
Say psych right now.
Psych.
Okay. All right.
Psych. It's too low. It's too low.
Okay.
It's too low. I even not enjoying parts of it the way I do. I think it's too low, and I think this belongs.
There's still some spirit in this battle. Hakayoi!
There's.
Hakayoi!
I think this belongs below Ed, and Eddie.
Done and done. Let's do it. I would take above the Boondocks.
I can't go there with you.
You don't have a right. You can't speak on it. I get to speak on it.
What? You're getting racial again. Woolie does this. Woolie does this whenever it is advantageous to him. Okay?
I play the
sometimes,
card.
Sometimes
I play the card, do I?
Sometimes he calls me the N-word because he knows I don't know how to respond.
So usually you're joking, but now that that's actually happened, you can say that? At least once on this podcast, you have been called the N-word. And it was super worth it. All right, your new number 14. Let's go.
Podcast.
The works of Don Hertzfeldt sitting just above Uma Musume. That's crazy how high that is. That's insanity.
It's like even the parts of it that I don't like dragging me down. I think of A Beautiful Day, and like just I also watched Paper Trail earlier today, and I think maybe it's still hitting me, which is where that initial reluctance came from.
It's just, you know, look, this has more to say about life, and when you're ready for it, it'll come. That's okay. Maybe just not yet, but it'll come.
Woolie, you've talked a lot about fighting spirit, and you've talked about how today you maybe don't feel like you have the fight in you, and I'm wondering, is that because it was all spent somewhere else?
Nakata, 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 hakayoi! So here, shall we start like this? Why did you recommend Sumo, John? Is this the Danpei arc? Are you looking to turn me into the next Yokozuna? And
no, Woolie, I'm not trying to turn you into the next Yokozuna. That would be silly. I am trying to turn you into the world mixed martial arts champion, open weight. No. I cannot fight anymore. Those days are beyond me. Now you must carry my dream in the most Japanese way possible.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the first UFC have a sumo wrestler in it that got horribly fucked up?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it did. It was maybe the very first match.
Yep. And that was like, okay, so this is maybe good for its own contained place.
Well, do you know what's interesting? A match recently went viral, and it was sumo wrestler versus boxer.
Huh.
In MMA rules. Boxer got fucked up.
Really? Interesting. Times have changed.
Mashed up against the cage, grabbed, thrown on the ground. Then a sumo is on top of you on the ground, and you have no grappling.
Fair enough. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've come a long way from UFC 1.
Well, it's more just like a sumo isn't going to do great against an MMA guy, but against a boxer, that's a bit of a different thing.
Sure. And there's also a weight class that is also just, there's nothing you can do about that weight on top of you. There's literally nothing you can do.
Yeah. But, okay, I recommended you sumo because I have fallen in love with sumo. That's the only reason. I experienced sumo in Japan, and I was really taken aback by like the power of it and the just size of these monsters. And then I started watching tournaments. Tom started guiding me, and what was that?
Nothing.
What was this?
Nothing. What?
Do you have something you'd like to say, Woolie?
What are you talking about? Is memory already becoming a shifty thing?
You just did this. What's this?
What are you referring to? I don't know what you're talking about.
We're recording this podcast.
Uh-huh. You were talking about sumo. Go on.
You went like this. What did it mean, Woolie?
I don't know what you're talking about. Please continue.
Sometimes it's so difficult to know if you're doing a bit or not. And
we have a segment that we're in the middle of. Let's get through it. We're okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what's going on over here. Let me know what's going on over there.
So I started following the sumo tournaments. I was like,
Yes.
I'm going to sit down and I'm going
You
to
went
watch
to Japan.
the
You
Bash show.
experienced. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to Japan. I fought a sumo wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with the power and size of sumo.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And then I came back and I started watching sumo tournaments. And it's hard because your first sumo tournament, you're watching like 40 sumo wrestler kind of face off in this round robin style. I can see the look on your face. I can see the smile.
This is crazy. This is completely insane. You are in the middle of talking about sumo, and I'm listening enraptured to your discussion about what got you pulled into the world of sumo, and you're breaking apart at the seams. Please, John, hold it together and take us through
what got me
made
into
you fall in love
sumo
with
was
sumo.
someone on my stream being like, John, check out Enho. I go and I look and it's this tiny cherub, this little miniature angel of a man, Woolie, defeating men many times his own size. Just as I have done on multiple occasions that you may or may not recall. I don't know, Woolie. And I started to watch enough sumo that I started to see what sumo was and the different ways it could work and the little flourishes and moments of expression that let you see who these dudes are. And I just really fell in love with it. And at some point I was like at the end of some of those tournaments and I was like more hyped than I have been for wrestling in a long time. And then I thought of you and I thought of your loving of the fight, the FGC of tournaments, of all that kind of stuff. And I thought, I think Woolie would like sumo. But how do I also make it so he gets fucked up? And so I made my recommendation last episode to both watch the most recent Sumo Bash show and to go and compete in some sumo.
Which you then did a little research and discovered that there was, in fact, a Montreal Sumo Club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good research into that. So here's what I'll say is, the idea that sumo has been a thing that everyone has, I'm sure, heard about forever. And it's been a background, it's like, yeah, it's a Japanese wrestling, traditional.
Kind of a silly thing, like to a lot of people, myself included.
I never thought it was. I didn't think it was silly. I just knew that it was like that's a thing that happens over there, and I think about it the same way.
You got like the hairstyles, you got like the kind of big butts. Like general media, mainstream media is pretty like disparaging of sumo a lot of the time.
Sure, but like I'm also, I guess, thinking I think about it the same way as I think about or I used to think about it the same way I think about like Turkish oil wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, that's a crazy version of wrestling that takes place over there that has a history that I don't know too much of.
Okay,
but...
maybe what I'm trying to say is the eccentricity of it is always the thing that's put up like front and center.
Yes,
as opposed to what it is. Yeah.
Because what I remember seeing, one of the first things I remember seeing was like a picture of Emmanuel Yarborough, this 600-pound dude going up against someone really small in a sumo match. And I was like, what is this?
Is that the famous photo?
Yes, the giant black guy.
Mm-hmm.
The six, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
if you look up Emmanuel Yarborough, it's the famous photo of the humongous black dude that was in the ring, and that was like me just kind of going like, and then of course, yeah, like you play Street Fighter, you see E Honda and all that stuff. It is very cool that this thing that's been in the background the whole time, you can walk up close to it, take a look at it, and for the first time go, oh shit, there's some stuff going on over here. I didn't quite realize, and I think it was I guess it was like during COVID or so that like there started becoming more of a an online English fan base that was translating some of the events, and around that time, I believe is when like some of the foreigners are starting. Like I believe like the Ukrainians like Shishi and stuff started around that time too. So things just kind of started becoming more like accessible outside of Japan or so. And yeah, that's something I wanted to go watch a match of when I was there. Like as it was like a novelty thing. But like I will say that having the ability to check this out up close and see something presented in a very detailed way makes it a lot easier to get into. So you recommended me in particular the sumo highlights. Now I'll have for the record that the link you sent, dead link by the way, it just didn't work, leads to nothing. But they might have
taken it down.
But I did a little reverse engineering. I did a little, figuring out, and based on what the link was, I was able to figure out what it linked to and go find it elsewhere. So in the end, it's totally fine. But the it was the highlights of the July Basho, and and I believe the specifics were July Basho. There's a specific division.
Yeah, it's the top division, like the best of the best of the best of the best. So there's a lot of divisions in sumo. We are looking at like the grand champion division.
Yes. So it's the ones with the red text on the channel Sumo Highlights. And the division is called, one second. Sorry. The Makuchi division.
Yes.
So when you check it out, what you get is like something really cool, which is like you see both wrestlers get into position, and you see this card, the fight card pops up, and you see the stats, you see their rank, you see their
so you didn't get the commentary.
No.
Oh, I'm looking through NHK here, and I think what happened is they actually took the highlights down.
Yes.
That sucks. Oh.
What I did get was by going to the link and finding out what the video was originally called at that link, I found the video name on the Sumo Highlights channel, and it went through all the highlights of the July 2026.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm familiar with that channel as well, because sometimes they do the uploads faster. That is a pretty good channel.
And there was no voiceover commentary, but what there was the matches, the stats, and then after each match, it would do a replay and then highlight the key moves and moments and techniques that happened.
Yeah, no, that's okay. The only thing is you miss out on is you kind of miss like the commentators giving context to like the histories of the different sumo wrestlers.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I just raw dogged it, and I got my own context and created my own story in my head, I suppose. And I mean, I did come out of there with what I love. What I loved was how you get all that info, and there's these moments where High Fight is on Twitter. It was this account that posts like really cool highlights from different matches in like Street Fighter and things like that, and every once in a while they do like a top player mentality breakdown, play by play, and then you see like they slow down a match of like Street Fighter, and then they show you what the decision that the player is thinking in that moment as the fight is continuing. As they get close, they're like looking for this, he didn't do it, back off, condition, right, get in. Is he going to throw? Go for the tech. No, it doesn't work. And you get to see like how fast the players are thinking and what they're thinking to see what it's like to be playing at that level almost, I love that type of breakdown and technique and things, and like I was not expecting it here, but it was a really cool aspect because watching the super fast match, just, bam, it starts, out goes a dude, and then you're like, what happened? And then they kind of rerun it back and they go, like, okay, he took a step here, check it out. this is where he turned his ankle this way, grabbed him, and he went for the henka, which is the big jump out of the way, you know? And you kind of get that technique breakdown and stuff that was pretty cool. So like this was the experience I had with it that like was able to make a lot more sense seeing those moves. One of the first things that like I loved was when they have the stat breakdowns with the 5-point chart. I don't know if that was on the original commentary track.
That's not in the original commentary, but I've seen it. It's basically it's like exotic, pushing, thrusting, mawashi, trips. Yeah.
So you see these stats,
throws maybe.
You see these stats popping up for the wrestlers, and like they're all very contained shapes that are like matching up against each other. And the first like holy shit moment I had was a match with Wakanosho versus Chiyoshoma, and this was the breakdown of the chart that just popped up, and you're just like, oh my god, like his points are maxed out in multiple sections, and you're just like, that is a beast. That is terrifying. Right before the match starts, you know, it was pretty cool because, you know, you also sent along that little guide to like, here's a couple people to keep your eyes out for, you know, and I did. And yeah, there's something definitely fun about watching the Ukrainians, you know, Aonishiki and Shishi. You didn't mention Shishi, but like both of them just competing.
I got beef with Shishi.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, either way, it's cool to just see like, yo, I can only imagine the story of like these dudes coming, you know, from Ukraine and like joining this world and then taking it seriously enough to like rank, you know, and like the level of mastery it takes to be respected as an outsider. And I know that sumo is a place where there have been like foreign rikishi, and I believe there was a foreign yokozuna as well.
Yeah, I think there's been like an American yokozuna.
Yeah, I want to say there was someone who was I think a Black and Pacific Islander, and so it's like something where it's like, yo, your skill is what matters, and you come in, and that's what's going to take you, you know, through the rankings. But you don't just get to yokozuna only by skill and the best record. It also has to be about like being picked by like representing the sport and being someone who's like a good ambassador for it. It seems almost like how like a belt champion is picked in wrestling. You know, you have to have the right energy about you is what it seems.
And you're very much like now, if you are a beast enough at sumo, you will just be made a yokozuna because you're undeniable. It's just being undeniable is very difficult. Like they say, one of the most primary like selectors for a yokozuna is not victory, it's dominance.
Okay.
And it's also control in victory. So like if you beat someone, you are not also going down to the mat.
I have to imagine that if you're somebody who is like dominant but not I guess respectful of, you know, perhaps traditions or the energy that they would want, that you might still find yourself having a hard time getting that promotion.
Well, one of the recent yokozuna, and when I say recent, I mean like last 10 years, was I don't think he had to drop his rank, but he was dismissed from sumo after getting into a bar fight.
Interesting. Okay. So the character that you hold up and maintain matters. Right.
Yeah, like sumo are seen as a nearly demigod-like figure.
Yeah. So from your description, you said you're basically just like set for life. You are...
Oh, if you're a yokozuna, you can never be demoted. You are a national treasure in Japan forever. It's like in the 100+ years of sumo, there's only been like 70 yokozuna.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting, you know, that it's like, it's a particular, it's more than just winning. It's there's other things you got to go through there. I also learned about, apparently there's a trope that called sumo wrestlers have beautiful wives in Japan, and just in terms of talking about the status and everything like that, and it's just like all these wedding photos of these sumo dudes with just like just extremely like beautiful catches, you know, and like you're
So
like, yo, they're
here's
happy and they got their families and their kids and they're killing it.
So over the course of the last like decade-ish, there's been this kind of revival in interest in sumo wrestling, and young girls make up a weirdly large proportion of that. Like sumo wrestlers are seen as very desirable in Japan, which is very strange when you compare it to the rest of Japan's like preferences
Aesthetic
as
preferences,
regard.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I you know, I feel like when you're a big guy or a big kid, like, you know, if for me, you're growing up and you're like, okay, what can I do with my size that can be beneficial, you know, besides like, I don't know, trying to get to lose it or whatever. Playing football tends to be the straight place that they send you to just be like, yep, you go hit the line, hit the offensive line, hit the defensive line, you know. And then if you go all the way with that, then that's your potential career. But like, that seems to be like the only place to be like a professional big person, you know? And I did play football and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But if sumo was an option, fuck me, my life might be different. If that was an actual option to lean into at that time, you know, damn. Because I love the one-on-one aspect as always, you know. But yeah, so
Well, I mean, like another part of it, Woolie, is like, do remember when we grappled, like, however it went after this point, I remember very clearly the first 3 seconds of that grapple. You bulldozed me.
Okay.
And like, regardless of anything else, like, it was just like this moment of like, yeah, I can never sumo wrestle Woolie. Like, ever. This is not going to work. Like, mentally, I am literally like midair, flying through the air, just like crossing that off the list.
And this is the only sport that doesn't care about weight classes at all. It doesn't matter, you know. So that being said, you know, with the primer and looking at everything, yeah, like following and watching, you know, the Ukrainians, you know, Aonishiki and stuff, just going through it, like super cool. Love seeing the technique there and love seeing the again, without knowing necessarily the story, just I'm imagining the dedication it takes to push through that, you know, plus language barrier, plus like you're in a traditional sport. It's something that is probably very heavily guarded, you know, especially, and then like seeing like some of the highlights of those matches, I believe towards the end, Aonishiki like beats Yokozuna, right? Beats one of the Yokozuna straight up in a clean match. So it was like, yo, the skill is incredible. That being said, I have to say, of the July Basho that I watched of this division, a favorite developed, you know, while I was watching. Kirishima is just
is legit as fuck.
The technique, every single match that I saw on display was like, oh, this is the lab monster. This is somebody who knows.
That's what he is. He's this incredibly technical wrestler. So he made it to the final playoff of the previous tournaments.
Okay.
And he was my pick to win.
I felt it in every one of those matches, and he won the matches in different ways. Sometimes he won with slaps, sometimes he won with the jump and the move to the side, sometimes he won with the trip. He just had a whole lot of technique to it. I believe that's because on the stat chart, he is maxed out in exotic. Exotic points maximum.
Exotic is kind of like unconventional. You know, it's like not doing the traditional thing.
And I mean, yeah, he just streaked like incredibly, like he showed off the technique of the sport to me. And I was like, this is fun to watch. I love every match I saw with him. Getting the elbow in early as well. And so in one of the matches, I remember it was just like straight to elbow, grabbed the Mawashi, and like the match was done in like 5 seconds. It was incredible stuff. That is what I like as far as just like, okay, I you're helping me understand what this sport is, you know? But in terms of just like coming at it unique. I love a good like specific pick on the character select screen that's a little bit different. And yes, Asakoryu is like the smaller.
I love Asakoryu. And like every
Yep.
and he does the pose.
Built like Ryu, you know? Just like thick, but the definition and the muscles is there. And you're not looking at the same level of fat and the same level of girth. You're just looking at a short, stocky, dense motherfucker. And like the power behind that shows because he's moving massive, massive people, including Atamafuji.
Love Atamafuji. 200 kilograms.
Yeah, so that 400 pounds. And you're watching that get moved around by short, stocky power, you know? Real fucking cool watching those characters and their specialties. And Tamafuji in particular is just like, I am a wall. I am a wall, and there's nothing you can do about it. Unless you do something about it, then shit. But probably there's nothing you can do. I also saw him, Tamafuji, like manhandle one of the Yokozuna as well.
Yokozuna's had very odd tournaments.
Yeah, and I guess now would be the time for me to ask about that because you know, the in this particular list we saw two that were following Hoshoryu and Onosato, and for both of them my question is this: most of the days had them facing off against what according to the rankings was the Magashira, the lower ranked sumo wrestlers that were not in the more like prominent categories. And I kind of was like, oh, is becoming Yokozuna something where then in the tournament we just match you up with easy matches because you've kind of retired or so? Because I couldn't understand why the first part of the tournament there were matches that were closer to the skill level, but the first like 10 days were mostly against the rank and filers, as you said, so the Magashira rank.
I think the reason they do that is that basically that makes for a more dramatic end to the tournament, because I think the idea is that the Yokozuna are going to be like the final bosses for the actual competitors, and so they spend the first week fighting a lot of Megashira because those guys likely aren't going to be the people who end up in the final. But honestly, I don't know a whole lot about how they select who fights who.
Okay,
but
it could be seeding, right? Because seeding makes sense. Could be seeding. Fight closer in your skill level towards the end. That makes perfect sense.
It is definitely not like the being put out to pasture. Like Yokozuna are expected to like be finishing in the top of every tournament. Like there's a tremendous amount of pressure on Yokozuna. And I think one of the reasons both those guys didn't do that well is because they both have suffered like injuries from previous tournaments, because the road to Yokozuna is so long and so brutal. But like with Onosato, I think he's one of them, right?
Yep.
I find his style so mesmerizing because when he gets going, he comes out and you have no friction, and he just pushes you out of the ring.
It slides you right out. Yeah.
And you're gone.
And it's I was gonna say on the in terms of the seeding or the skill, I guess the impression I get too is by fighting a lot of the lower skill ranked wrestlers first, the Yokozuna has ideally would have a high number of points at the end of the bracket. Right. And it's almost, in theory, it kind of gives them that. And then you have this wall to overcome. But, they're probably expected to be like the headliners as well, too. So it was just, it was interesting seeing these other players that were like dominating way past where these Yokozuna were. But yeah, speaking of no friction, I mean, so you're seeing Onosato just do that to people. But then you're seeing also everybody seems to be able to do that to Ura. The Pink Prince. Ura is just he's the only one who is sliding on the ground while everyone else is just going, over here you go now. Out of the ring, please. Thank you very much.
Woolie, in his last tournament, and I could have this wrong, but it was close to this, he went 11-4.
Wow.
So Ora is the most... So Ora is close to my favorite sumo wrestler. And one of the things I'm disappointed about with this tournament is you did not get to see the magician. You did not get to see the pink prince. I don't know what was going on with Ora this tournament. He could not get it going. Ora is a massive fan favorite because he will use techniques that have a 0.002% success rate. Like, and just the rarest sumo moves you could imagine.
And I saw that highlight reel with all the weird bending and curving and twisting that is like, oh, that is weird. I can see why that's special, you know? Yeah, characters like that stand out all the time because, you know, that is like, if you come at it uniquely and you win with your unique style, like you're a legend, you know? I mean, Roy Jones Jr. with the chicken moves, right? With the, like, all of that is so sick from just watching roosters and learning how they move, and then you use it and you apply it and you dominate with it. It's a great story. But yeah, in this particular basho, didn't work out. Didn't work out.
No, I hope he comes back stronger because he really is a joy to watch. Like, if people want to see something insane, go Google the Ora bend and watch as his bones turn off. And he literally, his defense when someone has him against the end of the ring is to bend backwards so they can't push him out. Okay.
Now, this is something, too, where it's interesting because you're into it, Reggie's into it, you know, Abaddon, Tom is into it. And I've been just kind of like on the outskirts floating and speaking a little bit here and there, but I've picked up a couple things from just idle conversation. One of which I believe is that, like, if you do moves like unconventional stuff that Ura does, it's cool, but it's also considered a little bit disrespectful because people want to see power win and they want you to clash and win on a kind of like head-to-head kind of manly approach as opposed to something a little more trickster and devious. Like
at some point, there is a
jumps.
certain portion of the audience that will always want to see Fox versus Fox Final Destination no items.
Right. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, if you're traditional in a lot of sports and a lot of things, you're coming at it with that appreciation versus someone like me, where I'm like, look, I don't care about soccer, so I'm totally down for the indoor version where the ball bounces off the wall and you get more goals because 1-1 is an insanely boring way to spend 90 minutes.
I want to see that unconventional formation that they had to ban where the soccer players form a circle around the ball and just wheel it into the goal.
I mean, just whatever, you know, I'm not attached to tradition here.
No.
But with that, we also, it's something cool that I learned because I always saw this was like they'd have the little straw that hangs from the mawashi, you know, the sagari that they would get, and I always would see like they would tuck that behind and then pull it out afterwards, and I always was like, what is the deal with that, you know? Did you catch what's going on with that stuff just out of lore purposes?
No, I just think it looks like exhaust pipes when they kind of took it to the side and squat down, and I think that looks sick.
It does look like exhaust pipes that are ready to have fire shooting out of them when they take off. Especially for those the Super Sumo highlight reels where they add like wings and power and energy Dragon Ball beams. Those were so sick back in the day. I love that. I always talk about the one with the dude that jumps with the wing and fly and rolls back into the ring, eyes going ding, you know. So the ropes are basically meant to be the same types of sacred straw ropes that you see at a Shinto shrine. And when you go to a Shinto shrine, it has a big rope that like wraps around the building, and shimenawa it's called, right? And it's basically, you will see this whenever there's like spirits or demons or ghosts and things like that involved, because the rope is meant to separate the domain of the gods from the domain of humans. and that is what is on. That is what's hanging from the Mawashi.
That's so rad. That's so rad.
Your body is a shrine, and you are holding the rope that separates the domains. It's fucking awesome, dude. But yeah. So going through it, it was really fun following that. And there were some real, like, it's not besides the Ukrainians, there's also a real fun person to watch was Roga, the like Russian Mongolian, who was like in there as well. Had some pretty good matches, kind of just sturdy, kind of dude coming from outside as well. Just again another situation where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'd love to know the story of like, how the outsider gets in and then gets this good, and like what is the response to that, but there were some solid matches that I felt were like, okay, there's stuff that is a good sumo match, and then this is like emblematic. I don't know what an all-time sumo match looks like, but the two best matches I saw involved the same wrestler. Koto Eho versus Shishi on day 11
that was wild.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. So that was a match that like it was over about 5 different times and then continued.
And the crowd is going, whoa, whoa, and like all these close calls on the ring out. Just like they both have the Mawashi, and they're both like, just a second. And something that happens is there's these moments where they'll both, I think a lot of the times both wrestlers will go for like an early takedown or an early technique. And when it doesn't work or gets countered, they kind of lock up. And almost like BJJ, there's these moments of like, we're trying to figure out where we're going next, and I'm sure there's like little movements that we're not able to see that they're kind of doing to like decide, okay, maybe if are you going to give me a little of this? What are we going to do? You're feeling each other out. And I feel like when the fights kind of come to these standstills, it's interesting because like the ref is shouting out like, okay, like look alive, put your spirit into it, right? The whole hakeyoi, that thing, like keep fighting. But the audience kind of loves it when these pauses happen, because it's almost like a moment in a wrestling match where they'll be like, fight forever, they love it when you're like, ooh, the fight's still going, you both have some strength going, and so they had like a bunch of those in that match. And then this same dude, Koto Eho versus Atame Fuji on the next day on 12 as well. Same thing, just like an insane amount of close calls on the edge where it's pretty much over, and then gravity says somehow gets defied. And you go from like being all the way tilted over to being like, no, put back in, those are just great matches. And like, but the fact that dude was part of both of them, it's like, okay, like that's a name that's perhaps worth following too, because you had some incredible comebacks that were really great to watch.
Yeah, no, he always stands out to me as someone with like just a lot of really hype matches.
And thankfully I feel like as we got towards the last day, 13, 14, and then 15, you finally got to see like all the sick names facing off against each other, like the highest rated, and I was waiting because I was like, when are we going to see Kirishima taking on some of the, taking on like Aoshi Nishiki and stuff like that? And like, it's literally like the last thing you're going to get is these two sick dudes going at it. And then same thing for Atame Fuji, the 400 pounder, those last couple fights were like just awesome, because that is your grand finals. You know what I mean?
And like, you've seen the story build up over the tournament. Like, maybe this was a little diminished for you because there is no commentary, but like Ao Nishiki, like he injured his foot on day 10.
That's where he had the big rap. Okay, yeah.
After like I can't remember, was it like 10 straight wins or something like that? And like that was a big problem, because it's like, is this the end of his tournament?
And so Ao Nishiki got demoted after the last basho. And that was meant to be the basho where he was going to become a Yokozuna. Okay.
And it went disastrously for him.
Tragic. Now, do you have to
But then watching him come back in this was so hype.
But does that mean that you're now 2 away, or do you have to get more of the momentum back on your side?
So he was demoted from Ozeki to Sekikawa or Sekiwake. I can't remember how to pronounce it, which means he has to now go back up to Ozeki, and then like there's no defined conditions to become a Yokozuna, but I think he has to win 2 tournaments as an Ozeki.
Okay. You got to get back up into good graces, and then Triple H has to like you.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. That was definitely a blast, and I guess, well, for whatever, reason, I didn't get the commentary version of it, but the version I got was still very cool, and I did appreciate watching the replays and highlights of that stuff,
Look, if you got something out of it, that's all I care about.
Yeah, and it is the fact that it's a great, easy to watch channel in particular, to just shout them out again. Sumo Highlights, just has these matches up, and you just watch them right away. All the stats you need for the wrestler, and then you take it from there. It was very, very digestible. But of course, that's not going to be as digestible as getting hands-on, I suppose.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Have I stalled enough? Have we beat around the bush enough?
So, Woolie, how is sumo?
Well, turns out that the sumo classes that are available at the Montreal Sumo Club, they meet up on Fridays, and there was exactly one Friday between when we recorded and when we had the chance.
Things were a little tight timing-wise. I'll own up to that.
There was exactly one day that we had to make it work. So we did. And yeah, it was a little tight, but we went out to it, and I'm going to say shout outs to the sumo club that meets at Fridays at Homa BJJ. Let me get you a look at Woolie Versus Sumo.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Hang on, I gotta climb this up a little bit. There you are! You're putting on your Mawashi! That's a big dude. There's Fox!
Yep. And I roped in Command Grab James, and I roped in Reggie to jump on the camera, and the 4 of us all went down together. So it wasn't just Foxcade. I brought the gang with.
Oh, I know, Woolie. I had my little birds feeding me information.
Yes. I mean, I was your little bird. I told you that.
keep telling you. Keep telling yourself that.
Yes. So anyway, that's it. We can take it from there.
I was just thinking that, like, for a recommend to be real, you have to have done it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, when did that happen? And then it's like, okay, I guess it did happen when John was wearing the big. But does that really count?
Does going to Japan and wrestling a ranked sumo wrestler not count as sumo?
In a giant inflatable air cushion?
I am not even addressing this. I am not even addressing this.
You didn't get the Mawashi. You didn't wear it for real.
You didn't wear the Mawashi.
I think it's questionable, right? It's a questionable recommendation.
No.
I'm just putting that out there for now.
Yeah,
What's the problem?
the doyo is there. There's no salt, so No purification, demons everywhere.
There's demons all
Demons
day.
everywhere. So you're on your own.
It's possessed.
This is so cool. Damn.
Yes. That's it.
Quarterback B's a lot harder
Yeah.
in person.
It'd be super fun if I had an ounce of cardio, but I'm dying. I emptied the tank and I'm just. Get into the ring!
Damn, look at these guys. They are not little people.
Yeah. We got some big boys out here. Man, grab James.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
So fucking cool.
Yeah, needed his run back. Oh, this dude.
Damn.
Yeah, he's a beast. He streaked for a while.
Pure technique. God damn. Wow. It's something about this dude. I was like, I feel like he's gonna be good.
Yeah, the last guy had like a really long streak we got here, but this dude was nuts too. The two of them were definitely like
Very nice.
the high score of the night.
Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, my Mawashi's fallen off at that point.
Oh, let's go, Woolie.
We take
Wow,
those.
look at that.
We take
From
those.
Kuroyama, Black Mountain.
Yeah, Fox is such a beast.
More on that in a minute.
Whoa.
The lift.
You can see James fighting his own instincts.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
1,000,000%. In fact, Hold that thought. Right?
Come on,
He's
James.
surviving.
Come on.
I
Beautiful.
feel like just your own training is backfiring against you in this technique where taking that knee is a great move in any other circumstance.
Yeah, I thought that was the down, but yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
His training is backfiring. Things that his body wants to do that would work in BJJ are the end of the match in sumo. Yeah, he always did the stomp too.
Very nice. Nice.
Hey, take those two.
That's just experience, yeah.
Pure tech. He gave me the rematch on it. Tried to put up a better fight, but he just lifted me out. Yeah. I went for the belt at I went for the Mawashi at the last second.
You went for that. That was good.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's so cool.
So shout outs to the Montreal Sumo Club. That is every Friday at Homa BJJ. Shout outs to Gus, the teacher who taught us all the moves and was taking us through the training. He helped us rap in the beginning. Gus was a great teacher there. And yeah, if you're in the area and you want to check him out, that's down over at 5650 Rue Hochelaga in Montreal. You can look up the Montreal Sumo Club on Instagram as well. And yeah, go check him out. It's a real fun group of people. And like we had some great times, and yeah, it was a good introduction for sure. And even just chatting about and stuff like that. I'm kind of wondering. I'm like, do I have to hide my power level here? And like, nah, dude had like a hexadecimal tattoo and like another sick ass like manga reference over here.
A hexadecimal tattoo.
Had a he had one of the dudes had a hexadecimal tattoo and a JoJo tattoo, and I was like, okay, no.
You saw the Dragon Ball Z top. That's
exactly. We know ball. We're here for a reason. So it was a ton of fun. It was so much fun to do it. The thing is as always, I am a sedentary, gassed out, perpetually garbage cardio ass motherfucker. And what that means is, in that situation, particularly that Friday when we were going for it, I think I just miscalculated the day because I was in dad mode doing the baby stuff, and then the boys came over and we went out, and I kind of like needed to recharge and ended up eating, I guess, like a granola bar and like an energy drink and heading down. And I think I just didn't give myself enough fuel because what ended up happening was we did the warm-up for that first hour, and that thing where you see us doing the leg lifts, that is do 10 per person and then go to the next person and then do 10.
Ooh, that shit is so tough.
So you go 10 people deep and now you've done 100 of them. And then you keep going, and they did more. And I think we ended up doing like maybe like 130 or 140 or so. And I'm like, it's like boxing training where it's like in the warm up, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And then it's like before you begin doing the exercises, I'm already like, oh fuck, right? So I start to feel that kind of backfiring on me with just bad fuel management and bad cardio. We start doing those exercises and then the pushes and the stuff you saw. And I think you could tell right off the bat there, like we weren't exploding full power at each other, not just because it's training, but not just that, but I'm also like, I'm starting to fade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a couple of exercises in, we start doing the more intense ones. There's a couple of the flips and the rolls and kind of like the side to sides and stuff. And after some of the full power ones where you have to move someone heavy all the way across as much as possible, I kind of start to feel lightheaded. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to sit down right now. Because I know this feeling. This is where you start to feel like you're going to pass out if you don't take it carefully. And I'm like, God damn it. I got my water, but I just didn't get enough, again, fuel beforehand and such. So I started to really, really, really feel gassed out like midway through that training stuff. And so by the time the actual matches started, I felt like I had very little left in the tank, So I was like, okay, I have to get some matches done. I have to get matches. I'm here. Let's do it. But I knew that I didn't have anything to really put my all into the matches you saw because I was starting pretty much at like 5% battery if I had to put a number on it. And yeah, I'm just like, God damn it, that sucks because like this is the chance and stuff. But what you kind of got there, and the reason why I didn't go in the ring more was because I was kind of sitting out, drinking water, trying to make sure I didn't continue to feel lightheaded.
You can only do what you can only do in the moment, And like I still think you went in a decent amount. Like I didn't see the class, and I think you did pretty well. Like I was pretty impressed.
I'm happy that I got that, so we got the matches where I just got tossed, and I got that match against the small guy, but the match against James made me proud because I'm like, okay, you are a grappling master, but this is both of our first days at this version of grappling. Mm-hmm. And I've got some weight on you, but I know that doesn't matter compared to technique. And you could see James survived against experts because of his footing and balance. Being black belt, even though he's not a sumo wrestler, he's got the world-class fucking, BJJ chops on display there. And getting pushed to the wall and then just grabbing his Mawashi and lifting out. I'm like, yep, I got that though. I got
sick.
The weight.
That was so sick.
So I'll take that dub. I mean, like, look, if I'm moving command grab James out of the ring, then we can pretend that I'm moving you out of the ring too. We can just take that for what it is.
I mean, I went to Japan, wrestled an actual sumo wrestler, and lasted longer than any of you chuckle fucks did against the Montreal crew. So you know what? I'll fucking take that. Fox would obliterate Fox. Command grab James, hard to say. Who knows? You, Woolie, I would destroy you, and I guess we'll never know because that's it.
Yeah, I would love to put on the handicap of a giant inflatable suit to withstand all the impact too. That would be real nice. Unfortunately,
there was no absorption in that thing at all, Woolie. If anything, I think it made my feet slippy. I was fighting with a handicap. I've held off on saying this. That match was fucking rigged against me, and Tashi is lucky I didn't have I couldn't grip my feet, okay?
Yeah, no, the 2v1 of Tashi versus John and a cushion of air really was an unfair matchup, but somehow Tashi managed to clutch it out.
A cushion of air. Because that's what wins fights, Woolie. Air.
The protection.
I went to Japan and lasted 1 minute against a ranked sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
Look, no disrespect to the sumos in Montreal.
Absolutely not.
But I think I was wrestling a higher caliber of athlete. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. If I brought a gun to our next BJJ match, I'm sure that it would make a difference. It's, that's...
Woolie, I hear what you're saying. I can't help the fact that I have an incredible physique and an amazing amount of strength, okay?
That's just something that was bestowed upon me.
Yes, the outfit needed to be on to hold you back, right? That's what happened there.
Well, also, I didn't want to crush. It's like when I fought James, you know? It's like when I grappled James, and within moments I could tell that I could beat him. And look, I didn't want to do that to him in front of his club. I didn't want to. I have succeeded in the arena of YouTube. It wouldn't have been right for me to take away what he's good at in front of everyone, and then broadcast to 100,000 people. Woolie, I'm not a monster.
All I said in the video was that the recommend was questionable.
What? Why do you mean questionable? What does that mean? How is it questionable?
I don't know. I think that if you send me a Mawashi that is synced up to the moment that the recommend begins in the podcast, yet you have never put a Mawashi on, it's just a little questionable. That's all I'm saying.
So you've never recommended me anything that you've never done?
Oh, no, I do the double blind, and we announced that in advance. We announced double blinds in advance, for sure. But, you know, I don't think that's what this was.
You
this
know what,
wasn't a double blind
you have a good point. Because I did specifically say, hey, Woolie, your recommend is to put on a fucking Mawashi, except your recommend, Woolie, was to get into sumo, and that's what you did. That's what I did. You're fucking welcome. You're welcome, Woolie. And this whole, oh, you didn't put on a Mawashi and I did, teehee. Like, I don't know what this is about, and I know it's just designed to make me angry, and clearly you failed in that, Woolie. Clearly.
I would have loved a big inflatable air suit in my matches, but unfortunately, I had to feel that shit.
Motherfucker, I will fly to Montreal. I will rip off my eye patch. I don't give a fuck if I lose the eye. I don't give a shit. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to dump your fucking ass outside that ring. I don't give a shit.
Nakata. What? Damn. Well, I did enjoy sumo, and I did get into sumo, and I had a great time. So thank you for that.
Good. You're
John.
welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
I hope that one day you too can truly get into it. Hey,
would you like to rank it, Woolie?
Let's rank. We're ranking. All right. Starting sumo. And again, shout outs to the club and Gus who, you know, definitely invited us to join again anytime. Starting sumo, I mean, look, I feel like there's a heavy, unfair, like, bias, but, like, fighting in real life is so cool, and we're the
coolest.
Yeah, we're gonna be pushing this stuff real heavy, so it's definitely in there. I feel like when I look at starting boxing, you know, that has its hooks in. I feel like fighting your friend has its hooks in. Looking at starting BJJ. And the thing with that is it's almost a little unfair in that, like, with starting BJJ, I had you and James to, like, really show what that was like.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like we had our own personal E-Honda to hang out. And you know what I mean? Our own personal...
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, like if we were chilling and Kirishima was hanging out with us for the month, you know what I mean? That would have been one thing. but just due to the nature of it, we're getting in and kind of learning about it for the first time, and doing it plus watching it is a combined experience here. It's a little different from the others where it was just doing it. But I'm still going to put BJJ above that. But
Gotcha.
not
Okay.
But not by much. In fact, I wouldn't want to put it any lower. Like,
So Sumo and BJJ occupy 25 and 24. So starting Sumo goes above Absolute Batman.
yeah, it would, like, I would put starting Sumo anywhere below starting BJJ, but just below.
Okay.
That's my logic on it.
I'm not going to fight that. I think that makes sense.
So this is starting and watching Sumo.
I think we can just put Sumo.
Sumo.
Sumo is our new number 25.
How do you feel about that?
I feel good. I'm going to be real. Little pang of jealousy watching you do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that it was a lot of fun, and genuinely thank you for that. I didn't know that was a club that we could even go hang out at or try it out, and that's something I could drop in on for fun in the future again.
Woolie, the next time I'm in Montreal, obviously I couldn't do the actual matches. I would still love to do the training.
There were people there that were just there training, that weren't doing the matches. That was a part of the group too, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. I believe there was the girl that we saw in the back. She was calling the matches there. She was kind of just doing the training. She didn't do any matches when we were there. But if you go to their Instagram, you're seeing like she like won tournaments and fucking dominated. When she does get a chance at it.
She looked like she knew her shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh shit, okay. There's people that are here to just do the leg stretches, get the whole thing going, and train. And when the time comes to fight, like they do it. But yeah. That was a real fun one. Again, shout outs to Gus and the whole group.
Mm-hmm. Woolie, it's that time. Recommend or die. At least it will be in one moment. Woolie, there's a piece of news that just broke, and I feel like I want to get your live reaction. This concerns fighting games. Development has ceased on 2XKO.
Yeah. So that was rumored, and we caught inside whispers about that not too long ago. This is unfortunately not surprising because there was the internal discussions that leaked and such. Yeah, that sucks. That's a fun ass fighting game, and that's a great team of people that made a really good one. It just wasn't profitable, I guess. The free to play model is not one that you gotta approach it a little differently, and you probably should approach it with more characters to start with and leave a really good first impression in everyone's minds. That would make a huge difference. But after such a long time of the Project L thing, that sucks. I know that the game has an offline launcher, and I think the state that it's in, and when those remaining characters drop, I hope it continues to be something that
they said
exists.
They're going to support it for the foreseeable future, and they also said that they're going to unlock all characters.
Okay. I wonder if we're going to get Lux and Samira as the last two, or if it's going to end before that. They did announce them, so hopefully they show up at some point. But that's a fucking bummer.
Just thought that was worth getting your take on while it's fresh. Are you ready for some recommend or die?
I am. I just want to say the last thought I'm just having it now, because as that's going down, because again, I heard rumors, but I'm not the kind of person who will look and say if I can still play that, and if there's still ways for me to get matches and have fun with other people playing it, then I'm going to continue to do so. Because the game if it can still be played and enjoyed. I've done that with games that have been not that I've been done. Games used to come out and then just be quote unquote dead for years before this online live service era. So I'm happy to continue enjoying games that can be played in that way. But you know, if the zeitgeist moves on, that's another thing. But if there's people that are willing to play at locals and stuff, I'm always down. Anyway,
Anyway.
all right. How we going? How we going about this?
Did you want to go first? Will I go first? What are you feeling?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, Woolie. You know what? I feel like I can own up to some wrongdoing. Maybe a little. Maybe feel like maybe there was a little half commitment on my part for the most recent recommend. You feel like I could have had a little more experience in the art of sumo wrestling.
It's
right?
just that when I thought back to when you would have experienced it, I went, wait a minute. I don't remember John Sumo. And I was like, oh, wait, no, there was that little joke that happened.
Maegashira ranked 4 opponent, 200 kilograms. But okay, you know, even if I don't agree with it, I can see that I have left you, that fucking look. Oh, I have left you a little, you know, dissatisfied, you know? So it seems to me the only logical reaction to that, Woolie, is to recommend you something I'm very experienced in. Something that I've done over and over and over and over and over and over. Woolie, last time I sent you on a journey outward. This time, you will be taking a journey inward into the abyss, Woolie, into the void. Woolie, your recommendation, Void Stranger.
You've spoken highly of this thing.
Void Stranger is one of the most brilliant and maddening games I have ever played. I think Void Stranger is best played with a Sherpa, Woolie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone to kind of help guide you along.
Huh.
Woolie, would you like to meet your Sherpa?
Sure thing.
It's me, Woolie! It's me! It was me all along!
Oh boy, okay.
Woolie, your recommendation
Okay.
is Void Stranger.
Okay.
I have been trying to communicate the point I would like you to get to in Void Stranger. And it's impossible for me to even give you a point without spoilers. So here's what it is. I want you to begin to see into Void Stranger's second layer.
Whatever that might be.
You can ask me questions throughout the month, and I will give you answers that will not point you in the right direction every time, but will serve some guidance. For the people who want to play Void Stranger to me is an absolutely incredible, mind-bending video game. It takes a lot of time to fully unravel it to the point that, Woolie, you're not going to be able to. There is no hard end on this challenge for you. You are not going to... Don't take that as a challenge. You will not get to the end of this game.
Okay.
But I want you to no. Think of Punch Girl, Woolie. But I want you. The place I want you to get to is a point that you can start to see what this thing is.
Okay.
This
And
is
would you
incredible.
say-
Sorry, go on.
Would you say that this is the kind of thing that I should install, boot, and just cold press start?
Go. I would actively discourage you from looking at anything else.
Okay.
And I would say that to our viewers as well. Just go. But if you don't want to experience this game for whatever reason, I do have a full video on Void Stranger. You can watch that, and that video has like spoiler points at which I pull back the layers of what the game is. It's called The Game for Lunatics is the name of the video. And Woolie, this is something I've wanted to recommend you a long time. I am really, really excited to see what you think of it.
Interesting. Okay. You've spoken of it, but I can't put together any thoughts on anything besides it's good and that's it. But okay. I don't know what to make of this. I legit don't know what to make of any of this.
I would also say it's a very nice Steam Deck game as well.
Okay. I just got that Steam controller, so we'll see what's up. Right. Now my turn for you, John. You live in Ireland.
Oh God.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's a place that has you can get a good view of the sea from a lot of spots, right? It's known for its like beautiful like edges, right?
Uh-huh.
Have you been out? Have you been out to the coast recently?
Not recently, no.
When's the last time you've been out to the coast?
To like a beach?
Yeah, to the edge, to the water. Not. It's been a while.
There's a friend who I'll occasionally take seaside walks with.
Okay. I think it's time to go back to the coast.
Okay.
To the coast, John. To the Wizards of the Coast.
Oh my God. Someone on my fucking Discord recently was like, you should play Magic the Gathering. And I was like, I should do a lot of things. The point being, like, yeah, I should, but I'm never gonna.
You would never opt to play Magic the Gathering of your own volition, right? What sane person would do that? And you know what? Neither would I. But what can happen through the magic of this podcast is I can fucking make you play this game, John. So here's what's going to happen. Next month, your recommend is to play Magic the Gathering Commander. And
what's Commander?
Commander is the 4-player variation of playing Magic the Gathering. Instead of against one person, you play with a group of 4 people.
Okay.
And we will, as I described earlier in the episode, lay our cards on the table, tap them, and see what comes out on the other side.
God, you're such a loser.
We will see you next month, baby.